I was
Oh, you
drunk.
already...
It travels, man. It travels. Everyone
I
knows.
did. No,
Everyone knows.
unlike a opponent in my game, so it travels unlike an opponent. Yeah.
All right, so I see we don't have anybody, or one person's probably one of us. Early start for the podcast tonight, and I'll type something in the chat. Make sure that chat's showing up.
I'm in the chat, don't worry.
You
And,
didn't schedule leave us.
Yep,
so I
yep.
think that's fine.
Yeah, I moved the schedule up because Labor Day for us in the United States. Most people don't have to work, and so I thought, see if Clocked It could make it if we started early. So, but
Yeah.
we have a special guest, first timer on the Juices Loose podcast, Sam Storm. Say hello.
People, what up? What up? How you guys doing?
And tradition, I know it's been forever since we had a guest. Brief history,
Yeah.
brief gaming history, first console you owned, first, memories, like what system did you start on and all that stuff.
Let's see. My first console I ever owned was a little thing called a Nintendo Switch. It just came out about 5 years ago, so I'm super fresh. No, I started.
I was gonna throw in a joke as well. I was gonna say the PS5 was your first console. You beat me to it.
I was gonna say the Wii. No.
Yeah, no. I started off on the NES, so that was my first console. Memories, man. I've flip-flopped between Sega and Nintendo for a while. What really put me on Nintendo was my older cousin. He had a Super Nintendo, and that pretty much like sealed the deal for being on Nintendo for me. So.
What was the game?
Everybody always comes back to Nintendo.
Oh man, he had a set of games. He had Super Mario. He had Mario Kart, Super Mario World, Mario Kart, Yoshi's Island, Super Ghouls and Ghosts, Desert. What's the one with the helicopter?
Desert Strike.
Desert Strike. Yeah.
That was on Genesis too, but
and Super Punch Out, and all of those games like really, like, the difference between my Sega Genesis and the sound card and his was like, nah. Next time when a new system comes out, I'm switching over to Nintendo, and so. Had the 64, had the GameCube.
Wait, does that mean you
Wii
skipped
U.
the Sega Saturn?
I did,
Man, get him off the podcast, man. Get him off.
Oh man,
no, he's just been promoted. He's
Yeah.
full time.
My other cousin actually had a Sega Saturn, and he had, was it Ridge Racer? That was one of the first racing games.
Don't
on there?
stop talking. Cut it on my hat. Ridge Racer was on the PS1, but
Okay, I'm sorry.
Sega Rally, maybe. Sega Rally.
And that, yeah, maybe that was it. And Knights, really did it for me. But by the time I had the money to get it, Sega had already talked about moving on to something else, and I wasn't about that life. So.
I've only seen a Sega Saturn once in person. It was at Toys R Us, and I played the Knights demo with the new 3D analog stick controller. And I thought it was cool, but it was sitting next to Mario 64, so it was quickly brushed aside. Till I had
they
to-
run
But
different.
it's still crazy how close that analog stick came out to the N64 one. Sega and Nintendo had the same ideas, man, at that time.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
so let's see, what are some of your top game franchises?
Oh, you already know Zelda's the top. I'm sorry for any of you guys who think otherwise, but Majora's Mask is number one. Go.
Oh, let's go.
That's it for Juice.
Yeah, you're off the podcast.
Juice.
It was a once one and done. Nice knowing you.
Okay, I'll tell you why.
Majora's Mask's not terrible. It's still a good
There's,
game.
I know.
there's a specific reason as to why Majora's Mask hit the GOAT. And that is because, for me, it started the whole reason why I want to search this whole world to understand what's going on. Like, every Zelda before then has been like a story, and the story is great, but like the side quests don't really have any meaning.
Oh,
But
like
like
a Epona, right? You get an Epona.
That's debatable. That's debatable. You have to get Epona. She rides right. But
Exactly.
but Majora's Mask was like specifically the one, if you really wanted to understand what was going on in all of these people's heads, you had to kind of get their backstory and play all through it. And that is why.
the side
See,
quests in that game.
That's
Yeah.
the difference
We could
between
talk about
having
them all day,
somebody
man.
with like good takes that can actually explain something properly versus having Retrodeath try to explain why he likes a game. Because that is
No,
that is the
difference
best thing
is-
I've ever heard about Majora's Mask, honestly.
The difference is that his is gameplay related, mine is personal related.
The atmosphere.
And
I
I
would say
like
that.
Majora's Mask more because of the surreal melancholy it has, because of my
Just
own
say the A
past.
word, man. You know
And
you want
related, like my past related to the villain of the game, which is why it just hit so hard for me. That's just a more personal reason than that. Even though they're just both valid, so I feel like you should become a permanent member now. And fuck you, bitches.
Well, now we have a new. I mean, Retro Death's. I don't know if I can call that a beard. But
Yeah, that's. Well, I mean, it's.
Sandstorm definitely takes the beard trophy easily. Closest.
I like myself. I can't have like that at my work. I just can't.
You know, honestly, I can't have it at my work either, but nobody says anything. They just kind of keep going.
Some people, you know, just can pull off stuff. Some people can't. Like I couldn't do a beard. It just
You look
looks
like
right.
a sage.
I don't
You look
know.
like a sage.
Yeah. So all right. So we used to do a tradition when if somebody started a new game or beat a game, kind of feel like this one's significant enough to. We haven't really done this in a while, but I finished Xenoblade Chronicles finally, and
Good.
Robert, I watched some videos of Xenoblade Chronicles on Wii just because I was looking up tips for trying to find out where these items were. And I'm like, what is this mod? Like, this looks terrible. Like, the character are huge. They take up like a big chunk of your screen, and they had these dumb icons over your enemy. I'm like, what is this PC mod? Turns out it was the Wii version. And then I saw the quest menu, and I'm like, oh my god! Like, I know you're probably. I mean, it's not like the quest or anything amazing, but just I would highly recommend the definitive edition to the point where I'd mail it to you so you could play it if you don't want to buy
I
it.
mean, when I eventually get to it, I will play the definitive
Are you?
version, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because it is like significant quality improvement. Even clocked it. If you want to say what you said earlier off air, which I was surprised because.
No, I said, you know, there's very few games where, like a remake or like something like that, from my opinion, would completely replace the original. But I can't really think of any justification now to play the Wii version anymore.
Wow.
Like I said, apart from
That's big coming from you, man.
All I said was, you know, there's going to be some people who prefer the character models of the Wii version.
Yeah.
That's fine. And I would still say the Wii version unto itself is an absolute triumph for the hardware and you know and for what it is. You know, so you can still experience that just to say, man, I played this on the Wii. Look what the Wii is doing. This is incredible. But just as Xenoblade Chronicles itself as a game, there's very little reason to have to play the Wii version. Now the definitive version is what it is. The definitive.
I've been telling you guys, I was just binging the game. I would say is the best way, just crunching the game because I put myself on a schedule about 2 weeks ago. So I'm gonna play at least 2 hours a night. Ended up being three to four, and I said I'm gonna get through this game. And I did take last Saturday off. I got back into Demon Souls, but I've been pretty much nonstop. And you know how I play. I mean, I'm grinding. I did a lot. I feel like I did quite a bit of extra stuff and grinding, and it's just fun. Combat system. I do still prefer the D-pad combat system, switching arts with the D-pad.
When I first played it, I played it with the Wiimote, with motion controls.
Really?
Yeah, you'd shake it to do like certain moves and stuff.
Oh, it wasn't with the D-pad or anything?
No, you could use the D-pad.
Oh, you
and stuff,
could use it, but you could
still
also
has some
use, like-
motion controls on it. Yeah.
I prefer the D-pad, especially. I don't know if this was in the original or even in X. If you hit up, it immediately centers to the middle, and I didn't figure that out till like 40 hours in the game. And I'm like, oh man, I'm sitting there scrolling, you know, 3 or 4 over. I could have just hit up and over once, you know, like I do.
I think it's a C button on a nunchuck that does that.
I do prefer. I think I prefer that to the BXY of 2 and 3 so far. But so my take on the game is, it's a great game, obviously. If I had played it back on the Wii, I don't think I would have finished it with some of the quality of life stuff that they added to this version. And you know, the improved character models are the biggest like change, I would say, visually. And it really does, like, looking back at the Wii character models, I mean, there's so much more expression in the faces that it would be hard for me to play the other version. But if I had to score it, it's hard to score a game from that era by today's standards. But I just feel like as a game, enjoying the game, it's in the high 8s, probably 88 maybe out of 100. I'd probably, if I had to give it a number at this point. I restarted New Game Plus, and I played another 2 hours, went through Colony 9 again, which is the starting area. Spent a little time with Fiora, and I really enjoyed the game. So I kind of thought it was ahead of 2, but I haven't played 2 in so long, it's kind of not fair. I would almost have to go back, boot 2 up, play like a chapter or something, and kind of see where it lands. But it's definitely, story-wise, ending-wise, it's right there with X. The ending actually made sense to me, unlike 2, which was just nonsense. But I don't know if something from the first game would help me with the ending of 2 now. I planned on rewatching it. I just didn't, because I was just lost. I'm like, what is this nonsense?
The thing is now, for you as well, going straight into 3 as well now. Now you've done 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, you just visually, all those visual cues, from the environment.
Yeah, especially the opening in 3 is
that's
just
what's keeping me going with 3 as well. I'm just like, oh, why is it there? Why is that there? Why is this there? Just tell me fucking already. Ah.
It's crazy because I went from 2 hours in Future Connected to 3, and like the opening is Melia's their like tower. I forget what it's called. Starts with an A, I believe. The city in Future Connected that you're trying to.
I'll come off.
I'll come off. Yeah. So there's some things there, but I'm wondering if 2 would make more sense to me now. The ending, now that I've beat 1, I just felt like it was just kind of nonsense. But at that point,
well, another thing as well with the definitive edition is that they did now kind of want to tie it into the narrative of this trilogy, because it wasn't, some elements weren't really there. Without giving spoilers, away, Xenoblade Chronicles 1, some elements weren't there to tie into certain things that you might have seen in X or might have seen in 2. So they kind of released the definitive edition to really tie them all in now.
So I will say, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I'll just quickly tie in my new game that I recently started, because then I can join in. I recently started Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition because I was playing 3, and in like the first half hour of 3, they mentioned like, oh, let's go to this extremely important location from 1. I'm like, fuck, I'm like, it's gonna be way more connected than I think it might be. So when I'm at home, I'm playing Xenoblade Chronicles 3, and at work, I'm playing Xenoblade Chronicles 1, and I'm right now past like that Colony 9 city. I'm in like the first cave area for like my first quest or whatever.
Oh, you must love that.
That's like
I've done a bunch of like side quests and a bunch of combat and stuff. And I have like I'm at the point where like you have 3 people on your team for the first time and stuff.
Yeah, you don't have the Minato yet though.
What?
You don't have
No, I don't have the Minato yet. So I'm still really in the beginning, But I've played like 3-4 hours maybe, I think, of the game. And like the music, first of all, is absolutely freaking incredible. The music is so goddamn good. I can't stop sometimes just listening to the music. I'm like, oh wait, I need to play the game, because I want to do what you do and kind of like not focus too much on the side quest, so that I can keep up 1 and 3 at the same time. But that combat, man, like, even though I like the combat way more than an X, unlike you, it really bothers me, that side thing system. I don't like having to scroll to the right, scroll to the left. I really prefer just hitting a button. But one thing I really love that 1 does is that on your arts, if you're in the correct location behind or at the side of an enemy, there's like a symbol that pops up on the art to use it. And I hated how 3 has that arrow.
Yeah.
And at first I was like, oh, that arrow is kind of nice, but sometimes it goes down from behind and I'm confused. I don't get it. And 1 does that, so it runs a bit smoother, I feel, the combat.
And it took me, I ain't ashamed to admit, I started off just going through all the arts one after the other. And then I went to the break topple system. By the end, gave all that up. And this is a tip, Retro, and you don't have, you might not play this way. This is what I ended up doing. You have your you know, in the beginning, Ryan is your guy that takes all the hits and draws the aggro of the enemy. Well, I didn't rock with Ryan about halfway through the game. I switched up. So what I would do, I wouldn't attack, let them get a few hits so the enemy's facing them, and then I would only attack when I got the little blue exclamation point to build up your meter for the chain attack. And then I just built that up. There was art. Shulk, one of Shulk's, he doesn't even have that many arts. I think you only have the 8. You don't get to swap any out, plus the Monado ones. And I would just wait, get the little symbol, do the attack, build up my meter, do a chain attack, do heavy damage, rinse and repeat. And if I needed to do a shield, I use my Monado, power up the center one to put on shields and keep my teammates alive. And that was my bread and butter, man. The only boss I couldn't even well, 2 bosses at the end, I just couldn't even touch them. That strategy did not work. One was the final boss, one was I think the boss right before. So for me, like, I was rocking and rolling. I almost never had to never had to go grind. I made sure to fight everything on my path. I'd go left, right, kind of zigzag. I fight everything I'd see. And then there are some side quests that give you some pretty good XP. And another tip I would say, go to a town, every little exclamation point, talk to that person until
I do that as well, yeah.
And most of them are just out in the wild. You'll kill some enemies and and the quest will be complete.
I feel often I like take a quest and it's instantly completed.
Yeah,
because
that's
I also like
happened too.
grab every item I see and stuff.
I wouldn't
so
spend.
That would help.
I would probably recommend at least getting to like Colony 6 before, like, you're still gonna have to grind a little bit because you have to be, you got to be pretty close to the same level as the bosses.
That's what I try to be around
Yeah.
the same levels.
So, but overall, really enjoyed it. So if I had to rank them right now, it's Xenoblade Chronicles X 1, Xenoblade Chronicles number 2, and Xenoblade Chronicles 2 would be third place out of the ones I've played. And I just started 3, so that started off very promising. I'm pretty confident that'll easily pass 2, but I don't know where it's going to end up. So
That battle music of 1 is
I think
so goddamn good.
Yeah, I like the battle music for the regular enemies and for the boss quote, or what's the unique enemies? Isn't that what they call them?
Yeah.
The little guitar slide I think comes in, like, and then clocked it. I gotta strongly disagree with you on Future Connected. I almost want to turn the music off, the battle music. Honestly, it's like fluty, jazzy, 70s disco music-ish.
Someone who likes sounds. For someone who likes sounds, you make me sick.
Dude, that is like, that is terrible. The fluty. I'm like, oh my god, this is the battle music. So, but
what about was it Ghost of Tsushima? That all some of the flute chill.
Yeah,
so it's like
slow, nice, slower flutes, like a Japanese flute. Yeah, I love that. But
now when they get aggressive, they go.
Yeah, but that's
like
different than little head bopping jazzy.
Okay, I'll have to hear. I haven't heard of this.
Yeah, but I agree. Xenoblade Chronicles probably has the best music of the games I've played.
This guy's like fucking making music and shit. He imitates a flute. He's like flute.
Hey man, I'm not here, doing flute shit. He doesn't.
So I started 3 now. Robert hasn't started 3. T, have you started 3?
Nope.
No.
So unfortunate. It's so unfortunate.
I will say.
One day I'll let you know next year. Yeah.
I'm about 6 hours in.
Man, I work 2 jobs, man.
I tell you what I'll be up about Rob is that he completed Mass Effect 1, made all those choices, and then his next game was something completely different. I was like, no, you go straight to number 2. What's fucking wrong with you?
I thought it was a game you'd be excited for, though.
What do you mean?
I was like, how long is it going to take you to
not
get to
watch
Mass
the
Effect
review?
2 now? You're going to forget, man.
Oh, well, you think I was gonna go straight to 2?
Yeah.
Might as well.
You kind of should.
Every season, it's what I don't repeat franchises.
You should go.
But this is
These
actually
rules,
a
these
trilogy.
abstract
You know,
rules,
this
these-
is-
Yeah, but
this is-
remember, with to be fair, with Metroid Prime,
If it was Planet of the Apes,
1 year after another,
he would play them back to back.
And what is it? Say it again?
Metroid
Prime
Prime
isn't
It was what?
about the
If it was
story.
Planet of the Apes games, you would play them back to back to back.
No. No, in the end of the day, for me, I also big reason I appreciated Metroid Prime so much is I didn't play them back to back to back. I like that I played him like it was essentially.
So you would have hated 2 a lot more if you did.
Prime is different. It's not like
they are
not like this strong narrative.
The Prime trilogy are 3 completely different games.
Yeah.
Why not?
Sandstorm?
Why not play?
I like spacing things out, man, because
There's no way you
ever
get a
since
mix
the
up.
Lord of the Rings, man, when I sat down and saw for 12 hours,
You know what? I'll let you have that. I'll let you have that. You're right.
Why not play the whole story and play it, and then go back and play
that's
the whole story?
that's all right.
Change the subject, man. He makes me sick.
All right, so
before we move on, I just gotta ask this now, because like Sandstorm is here and stuff. What's your opinion on Metroid Prime 2?
I like to.
Yeah, you want people to hate too, like you
Retro hates too. Retro thinks that's the worst Nintendo game.
Just because he's your Majora's Mask boy now, right?
Metroid Prime 2 is.
Great.
I'd have that ahead of Majora's Mask.
Awesome.
As
We
far
all
as
love
Okay, let's not go that
Mask.
far. Let's not go that far. It's not ahead of Majora's Mask.
now. So real quick, I'm gonna quick take on 3. I'm 2 hours in. I would say the biggest visual difference is that what's up, Lenny? It's like I haven't played 2 in a while, but I feel like it's the first one where the characters actually feel like they're 3D, like actual 3D objects, and not like not 2D anime, but the Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. I didn't feel like my characters were like actually masses of human, like mass, like they just kind of feel like almost 2D to me. That was the first thing I noticed. I was like, man, like that character just looks like I could reach out and grab that character, like they're actually 3D. And I noticed that there's a lot of more lighting and stuff.
I was gonna say, I think it's because of the shading on the characters, because I noticed the same thing.
And I love the character designs. It's a departure from the series. I mean, I guess Rex, and if you looked at Rex compared to, but I still I feel like this is what I'd like to have them continue with moving forward. And it's nice to have a consistent art style for characters, where one's not some random anime looking character, the other one's like a 3D CG, the other one's like 2D looking, you know what I'm saying, in 2. And yep, Terrell, we don't need you anymore, so
is he not coming?
No, he didn't have everything set up yet at the new house.
Oh, okay. I thought he was joining.
But I would say
take your time.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll be talking about Sonic Frontiers, Terrell, so you can weigh in the chat. You can weigh in the chat. But I will say 3 is very promising start. I love it feels like, I don't mean this isn't throwing shade, but it just feels like mature adults made this game versus maybe some more, does that make any sense? It just feels like the story
setup is just really dark.
Has way more.
I remember Kenny and Krista were saying that. Yeah, they're
way
saying
more
very
maturity, and even
story.
like the shower scene. The difference between this and the bath scenes from 2, it's like completely feels like different people wrote it. You would think, oh, right, Uni keeps talking about taking a bath, like this, this gonna get. I'm used to 2, there's gonna be some moments. No, it's completely serious. It's completely you can just tell they're worn. Their lives, all they do is fight. They just, they didn't do that at all. And I was like, wow, cool. This is not what I was expecting. So looking forward to it. So now I asked this on Twitter. Robert can't answer this. Well, you can, but it's only gonna be from one game. Your top 3 Xenoblade Chronicles characters.
No, I've played. Hey, hold on. I've played. So I didn't beat X, but I still put in 50, 60 hours or whatever. I forget. And then I still beat 2, right?
That's true.
And then I'm playing Torna. So to be fair,
I'm gonna give you Terrell's top 3 and tell me if you're surprised. Mithra, Nia, and Rex. That's his top 3 all time.
All 2?
All from Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Yep. Any surprise? Anyone surprised there? I made the comment that I didn't think Mithra had much of a character, but I guess in Torna she has a lot better of a role.
Rex though? Rex?
I don't know. That's Terrell. You can let Terrell. He can say why Rex. I don't know Rex. He's probably bottom 3 easily for me. Rex.
Damn you.
Maybe even the bottom.
Damn you.
I don't really like him either.
Nah, I don't much
He
care
ain't
for
special.
him. So I found out just making my list and thinking about like characters in shows and movies. I like the stoic, like reserved characters who just don't say much, but when they say stuff, it's like it's deep, it's powerful. So, in no particular order, Dunban, Morag, and Elma. That's my top three. And it might,
Wait. So you're not changing after playing a few hours of 3?
not yet. I don't know
Okay.
these characters at all.
Okay.
So.
I said that on his poll. I'm like, if I included 3, yeah, it'd be a whole different story, man.
You know what's funny? Because I know why he's saying that. Because after only playing like a few hours of 3, I think Noah would probably be like. I don't want to instantly put him on number 1, but top 3 easily because I fucking love how they finally have like a main character who's just really fucking smart, just technically so goddamn like intense. The way he's just a military strategist. He's really goddamn smart. Like there's a specific scene really on in the beginning where he's like in battle with someone, and instead of going like Rex running at him, he's like closing his eyes, like taking all the surroundings in him. And I'm like, I fucking
Yeah, I haven't
love
got
this
to that,
so
but
goddamn much.
you make
Oh,
a
yeah,
good point.
It's in the
further
first
down-
hour or something. You're gonna get to that real soon.
Further down,
I-
you'll be like, okay, this guy's got to be.
Because he
gotta
fits
be
my
a-
profile.
cool.
Then stoic, he's not that. I'll get everybody else's list, but one thing about Shulk that drove me absolutely nuts. Well, 2 things. One, he's just completely oblivious to Fiora's, like, basically making it so obvious that she's into him, and he's so oblivious to everything. And then he's always the first one to hit. Ryan's also he's
Like
probably
an
the
anime
least
trope.
to follow, but someone will say something, and it's clear they just said something, explained it really well. What do you mean? Like Shulk just says that all the time. Like I don't know if they thought that would be the way for the player to figure stuff out, to have Shulk ask these dumb questions all the time. He doesn't get what they're telling him all the time, even late in the game. And finally he becomes something at the end where he takes a little bit of initiative but for so long in that game, Shulk's just like, what? Huh? Like I'm like, God, dude, like figure it out. But anyway, that's a different
Figure it
list.
out.
All right, so Sandstorm, who's your top 3?
Okay, so 3 was Uni because Uni is just you haven't spent enough time in 3 to understand how dope this woman is, and it's not even her moveset. Her moveset is amazing, but just her dialogue is just on point, and you're just like, that's the woman right there. I love her accent and everything about her. Number 2 is Tora. I think that dynamic that he has in X is just amazing. And then Elma is number 1 because Elma goes in. I don't know how you didn't finish X. I'm lost on that.
Hey man, I was 16, man. 2015,
Oh.
2016. So yeah, I was 16,
He's,
and
he's, he's the new
Talking about
retro
the
up there, man.
age
He's the new retro.
and
They got to do with
and
it.
it was and I didn't finish most games from those years, so that's why I have a massive backlog.
You know how many
That's
massive
unfortunate.
RPGs I finished by the time I was 16?
Yeah, exactly.
Hey man,
I don't want
hey
to
man.
hear that.
Hey,
Alright, let
man,
me share my screen,
did you not see my Splatoon stat that same year? I'm level 50 in Splatoon, which no one's even close to that. Even it's
Splatoon.
over 500 hours. I played too much Splatoon back then. So
Look at how goddamn fucking gorgeous that game is.
The fact that Elma was spoiler alert for whoever hasn't played it. The
Wow.
fact that she was
Don't do it. Don't do
Okay,
it. Don't do it.
okay. Then I won't.
He'll
No,
kill
don't
you.
do it.
The fact that you find out who she really is by the end of the game just blows
Look
it
at that.
all away.
Look at that
Cool shit.
that stunning silhouette. Anyway, I'm hoping to really the characters really pull me in because I've heard nothing but good things. So T, do you have a list? Do you have a top 3? I
No.
know I put you on the spot.
None. You kind of, but I guess you guys are probably talking about this in the chat, or is that what was going on Twitter?
Yeah, we
on my Twitter, blowing phone up.
yeah we had
Damn.
we had a lot of discussions.
My phone damn near dying. I'm like, stop. I don't know if I have an order. Oh my gosh, this is tough. It's tough.
Robert, what's your
Shulk-
list of
I'll
based on
give
your 2
Shulk
games?
3,
Okay.
Elma's 2, but I can't decide who's 1. can't decide. Not yet.
I got to give a shout out to Charla as well. She's a pretty good character in 1. I like her.
If she was continuously a bit more involved.
Yeah, she's not that involved.
That's the problem.
You know, then
she's
like she got the motivation, she got the backstory, she got all of that stuff. It's just
her and Ryan had a little.
It's not enough intertwined, you know.
Gato! There's a lot of shouting in that game.
You didn't even come for the microphone yet.
Gato! There's a lot of shouting in Xenoblade Chronicles, I'll just say, and it's real shouting. It's not Pyra. Rex is so lame.
You play English, man.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, man. I like Rex, man. I like Rex.
Yeah,
what's with this Rex love tonight?
Is just, you know, he's a goofy.
Well, Robert
dude.
was the same
like
age
that.
when he played the game, you know.
You know, he's a goofy dude, and I like that, man. And
And
it's the way, and even the more like sad. I like when he does do stuff like when he goes to like when he first sees like his like the parents' grave and stuff like that stuff like that. I thought still added to him, and like he had a little emotion there, and that was nice. And
His crying always felt fake, or maybe it just looked fake with the models and stuff.
But
I feel like.
But I also like, but you know, he's just trying to help people out. Like he was always, you know, the whole thing just helping Pyra really, and I like that.
Yeah, until he was just like, that's it, I'm done, whatever. I'll just walk away for no reason whatsoever. Yeah. Let everybody die. I don't care. He just walks away.
He had that same thing with Shulk, where he was always like slow to like pick up on what's going on.
Yeah. That might have been a thing, like you said, it might have been a character thing where they were like, well, the player.
It's an anime trope.
Yeah, but it also could be like kind of a player thing, you know, where it's like.
Another anime trope is these really random moments to like foreshadowing where they'll show a character mumble something to themselves in the first game and like, what the, you know, eventually at the end you're like, okay, well, I see
Back to it like 30 hours later.
that shit happened, but I still don't feel like it was necessary to have that person mumble that thing to themselves, and like it was so like away from the characters on screen that it was like they did it obviously just for the audience playing. But
I think the way they do it though is that you have to fundamentally remember that they are thinking main story.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, so when you think main story, you have to move along at that main story pace, however long that main story is. If you went straight from A to B, you know, so you have to think like that, because that's how, you know, a lot of people, most people will play. Most people aren't going to spend the time like us going, you know, looking for every single cave and stuff like that. Like,
I don't know if you
so
can
they
get
will
through
be going
that.
through it.
The
3
first
doesn't really do it like that though. Like they aren't as hard with that. Like as far as like the mumbling and like, there's moments, but like it's like you get the whole moment.
The characters you will love 3 for this reason, is that the characters, there is no I'm not quite sure what's going on here, or something so obvious in your face that they're oblivious.
They're a focused team. They're a well-oiled machine. They know when somebody tells them something, they understand.
And that's what you love about Uni as well, because she'll say stuff like, you know, she'll just straight to the point. You know, you fucking muppet, what are you talking about?
And sometimes it's just to have them give a look. You don't need to have them mumble something obvious. Like, but anyway, we need to move on. We got so much shit to talk about. Sorry, Robert. Could you throw 3 characters together that you would? You said Rex.
I'm not gonna. I'll probably include Rex, probably Elma, and even though I know I didn't finish game, but I love Elma. You know, I just like Elma. And then and she has probably might be Jin, maybe.
All right. Cool. So let's see here.
He's a dope man.
Over we got a couple people over in Europe. So you're if you eventually ever decided to buy a PS5, now you have to pay more money. I know Australia, Europe, UK's was I think £20. I don't know about the other regions. So, Clock, that you made the point, this has never happened before where a console's gone up in price. That's luckily the US. I don't know what the justification is for the US not going up.
I do.
Because it's probably their biggest competitor for Xbox, the market for Xbox.
It's that simple. It really is that simple.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's quite curious now. It depends on who you believe. If they were if the PS5 was profitable or if they were slightly losing money or breaking even before. I guess I don't know.
Making profit.
But
That's what they're saying apparently.
what I mean, the thing is that no one else is doing it at this point. So Microsoft and Nintendo has done something
Meta.
one step.
Yeah.
I would say Nintendo, before Sony just did this, I would say Nintendo did something no one ever did before, and they never did a price drop for the base model Switch. And then they come out with the OLED, and they come out with the Lite, so you have 3 price options. So in
Never
5,
charge more for
Actually, the Switch
last
dropped in like the
generation's
first month.
games.
yeah.
They never charged you $10 more.
So
for
5.5
games.
years of zero price drop. That never happened before. Now Sony's taken to the next step. Now they're doing an increase.
The Switch over here had a price drop in like the first couple of weeks though, for like $30 or $50.
Maybe
No,
just
no,
adjusting,
like a
probably
month.
just adjusting price maybe.
Yeah,
No,
but
no.
even an adjustment is still a drop though.
I guess.
That must
Is
have
that
been
retail
something
or
different
is that-
though, because I mean it's been $2.99 since day one here in the U.S.
It was
It's not-
$3.30 here in the beginning.
And probably some maybe tax adjustment. Who knows? Like something like
They
So
felt bad for you guys. That's what it was.
that.
so it just sucks, and I really feel like Sony's doing. I know you guys are gonna probably hate this. I feel like they're trying to get more in line with what Nintendo does with at least the value of their games not dropping right away. I just looked the other day, and like Miles Morales still $50. The Ultimate
Yeah.
still $70. Like Demon Souls has had a few drops, but right now it's $69.99. Like I feel like they're trying to model that Nintendo model for that, which that's fine because we lived with that.
I thought that was obvious.
With
Don't
Nintendo
people be
fans,
mad
that's
about that?
I think that's fine, as a Nintendo fan, because then you don't have to worry about your game dropping if you buy it right away, and the value, if you ever need to sell it or trade it in. But this just feels like I don't know,
So I got 2 questions.
Well, the problem is you're starting at 70, not
Yeah.
60. That's one
Yeah, that's
problem.
true.
Mhm.
So one side, well, let me address one of those first. With the software side, how do you break a trend that has been going on for so long?
you just got to do it cold
At
turkey.
this point,
Yeah, because it's hard to be like, okay, this is going to be the model from now on. We're going to keep these at $60 or $70 for however long before it drops. When we all know, like even as a hardcore consumer, like these games are eventually going to drop to where they're going to be the price to where I want to pay for them. So like, how do you?
They're starting now with us when we were 5 years old. They'd have to start with their 5-year-olds, gear them up until they become
Yeah.
teenagers. It'd be like now if, let's just say, Valve said there's going to be no more Steam sales. Yeah, you're just going to buy your Steam games for what the developers put the prices on there for. Yeah, could you imagine that platform
Yeah.
with no Steam sales? Jesus Christ!
But at
that's
the
the
same-
thing. Nintendo has been doing it for so long that's the Nintendo thing. Everybody in the industry is like, oh, that's what Nintendo does. They get away with that because they've always done that. So it's weird you've been basically doing it the way third parties have been doing it for 20, 25 years, and now you're gonna try to completely switch that. I mean, there's gonna be some.
Yeah, I can
backlash
understand
to
the
that.
Sony fans, but as a Nintendo fan, I actually appreciate that I don't have to worry about waiting to buy a game. If I buy it day one, it's gonna be $40 2 months later. I kind of feel like, for me as a consumer, I like that better than, damn, should I buy this now or should I wait 2 months, 3 months, because it's
I
gonna be
think Sony-
$30.
I think
Yeah.
Sony are the only ones who still do their budget label as well.
I was literally just gonna bring that up. Like, to be fair, Nintendo had like the Nintendo Platinum and all that stuff, and they stopped
Yeah,
doing
yeah,
that
the-
like several
No,
generations ago.
it was the player's choice at Nintendo.
Yeah.
then.
Yeah, because
And,
Sony
Ain't no player's choice on Switch.
I mean, maybe they will.
might
man,
not
remember
with the
generations.
The
the last 10
PS4 had
years.
the greatest hits or whatever
Yeah,
$20
PlayStation
games,
hits.
but I don't know. Maybe I would hope they don't get rid of that, but only time will tell. But
Now, to be fair, they do sales,
yeah, they've had, pretty frequent
but
sales.
just a locked. Oh, this is the price now. They ain't doing that shit no more. I don't think. No.
So, But as far as the
$20 first party games, you ain't gonna see that no more. You can get that shit up.
Yeah, because I said The Last of Us, like someday I wouldn't mind owning a physical copy of The Last of Us Part 1 for like $20-30, but I don't think that's ever going to happen.
The PS1 Platinum games.
It's gonna happen.
The retail price for PS1 games back when I was working in the game stores were $39.99 or $44.99 for the main retail price. Then the Platinum games, once they sold X amount, they went down to £19.99, half the price of what it was. And we used to, why that worked so well back then is that when you were selling these console bundles, when you had to sell your PlayStation, and just say you're trying to sell your PlayStation 5 now, you wanted to bundle it with like 4 games, you stick them on the front with cellophane wrap and stuff like that. People see these bundles and go, fucking hell, yeah, we got 4 games for my PlayStation. You know, it's, oh my god, it's only this price. That's because we threw in those Platinum games. You know, because they're still great games, but they were vastly cheaper, so you could.
And
make
that was the
bundles.
price for the PS4 games.
Do now.
It was
They came
19.
in really ugly cases.
Yeah, I hate the red banner.
Yeah.
Not as bad as the yellow Player's Choice.
PlayStation 1 was like puke green, grandma green labels and shit. Like, nah, bruh.
No, we had silver. We had
We had
silver.
silver.
PlayStation
It's
2
better
was
than what we
silver
had.
stuff,
We had the
yeah.
green.
Yeah.
It was awful.
And yeah, I think I don't know. Xbox had like, I don't know if it was Xbox or just
Yeah,
third parties had like the silver or gray.
Yeah, they got the for 360. They got the
360,
platinum hits,
yeah.
but it's a lot of the thing is with the 360, they have so many different. They changed it so many times. They have the one sleeve has the platinum hits, but then it's like a generic logo type thing, and then they have the other platinum hits where and then it's like it's got like the actual full nice logo looking thing.
Oh, there's
Yeah.
the PlayStation one.
It's
Yeah.
ugly, bro.
I actually don't mind that one.
You know what's crazy though is 2005. Yeah, it was 2005, tail end of 2005. Could have been early 2006 though. I went to the store and they had Shadow of the Colossus. Yep, there's the Xbox. Tilt it down a little bit. That's kind of bright. There you
Yeah,
go.
I hated the Xbox.
I don't mind the silver though.
I don't mind that either, actually,
But
personally. Yeah.
They had a Shadow of the Colossus standard and a Shadow of the Colossus platinum hits with the red banner. They're both $19.99. I'm like, what the fuck? Why would I buy that? So I got the last one of the official. I still have that.
It's funny how, because I've always fucking hated the budget labels. I wait for my collection. Even off the top of my head now, I reckon I got at least PAL games. I reckon I got about 3 budget labels left in my collection. I'd love to purge and just get the original.
Yeah, you've been purging them.
The only ones I got were the couple on 360. That otherwise I've never bought a budget bannered one. So what's up?
I try
just a
not to, but
collector-
I try not to, but sometimes it's just a cheaper option where I'm just like, fuck it.
collector
Yeah.
CD thing. That's all.
That's like with Bloodborne.
All it is. It's all it is.
I didn't want to buy the red banner Bloodborne. I was going to buy a physical copy. So we got what's up Laker Link. We got Muhammad in here. So either way, it just sucks.
And what's up, Xbox gamers?
Yeah, it sucks for people for the PlayStation. I mean, it's just about 2 years in. It's just kind of.
I think all this is Sony. There's Sony at the end of the day putting the cost onto the consumer. Instead of bearing it at the moment like everyone else is. There's chip shortages.
In places that most people won't make a stink.
Yeah, there's chip shortages still. Everyone's suffering, but they're just like, no, fuck it. We're gonna charge extra for everyone if they want it now, even though we can't even.
Which is what they're doing for TVs and
Ballsy.
And home theater stuff. AV receivers have gone up like 40%.
No, I don't think it won't affect them a penny. Everyone's gone quiet about it already. At least in my.
I think there's another reason why they jumped it up the price, and it's actually something that's not really talked about now. But I think it's also VR. I think they have no choice but to make the VR closer to the original PlayStation 5 price. They can't drop it down because then it shows a lack of quality.
There's no way it's gonna be cheaper than 5, right?
I was gonna say I don't even know if they mentioned the cost of the new one yet.
They haven't, because they know it's gonna be a big chunk.
Yeah, and nobody's gonna buy it if it's the exact same price.
I mean, honestly, anybody
still
here
not wireless either. So
has anybody here used the Quest 2 with the actual hand motion things?
I would like to.
Because that's not very. What is the price of that? Like $300 for the goggles
it went up another $100.
Yeah, I thought it went up because
it's $400 because they got a new model, I believe.
No, that's all built in, right? But like I was saying, like
yeah,
like anybody looking to buy like a stereo, like a AV receiver right now, the prices have just gone through the roof. Like it's ridiculous.
Really?
Yeah, it's
I
like
was about to.
it's like 30-40%. Like what before you
Damn.
could get a
Great.
pretty good one for like $499, $599. Now that model is going to be like $999, $1,100.
Really?
Ah,
Damn.
Like it's
looks like I'll be waiting a little longer.
it's a newer version, you know, but that same point where you'd be like, all right, you got these kind of price points, and now same with projectors. There's nothing like really in the 2000 range. So
Oh yeah, I saw projectors going up.
anyway,
What was
so Sonic Frontiers, Sucks Terrell. I don't know if he's still in the chat. First off, hands-on have been fairly. There isn't a whole lot of impressions though. Game Explain had one, and it was Nintendan. I'm sorry, I don't care for Nintendan. I usually his opinions and my opinions usually aren't in line. Doesn't mean in this instance, but and then it was some dude who didn't have any footage, said he had played it. They said, mixed, saying it's pretty fun, but the revelation that cyberspace levels that they were showing that were embargoed from like 2-3 months ago, whenever that summer event was, everyone's like, oh, I can't tell you about the best part of Sonic Frontiers. And
The highway thing?
no, it was the cyberspace levels, because they're like, oh my god, the boost levels are there for the boost fans.
Oh, that's what it's called.
And now
Okay.
it's found out that they reskinned levels from Generations, and I don't know if it was called Unleashed, I think. And it's
what are you
like,
talking about?
and it's not a known, as far as the demo, it wasn't like, hey, this is a retro themed levels. It was just like, it almost feels like they were trying to pull a fast one. I'm not sure. I didn't see any confirmation or deny
thing
of
is
that.
it doesn't surprise me, and I could imagine Sonic Team, because when it comes to like level design for them, and especially for Sonic, the way he plays in the majority of his 3D games, they always will have this template of, okay, all right, we'll make him go up a hill now, make him go down, we make it turn left a bit, get that motion going, we make him do a loop to loop, and they'll have this setup going. And to tell you the truth, I don't think. I think it really does take the real diehard Sonic fan to notice that level design comparison, because they did make it, that this new space that they're in look, completely different.
Yeah, they
visually.
changed up the theme of the level too.
Yeah, so for someone to notice the way the road moves and goes left and goes up, and say this is exactly the same, as this game. I find that astonishing, but like I said, you can't escape stuff on the internet like that these days now.
I mean,
Developers can't escape stuff.
to be fair, I mean, for them, that's like our Super Mario 1-1. You instantly recognize it when Nintendo reuses the 1-1 setup, even if it's just specifically for that, and like.
There's a massive
Yeah, they
difference.
did it at the very beginning of New Super Mario Brothers, but they didn't do like
No,
it wasn't
I
identical.
just mean like we
recognized
recognize
it.
it if Nintendo does it with a Nintendo thing. So it doesn't surprise me that they do it with a Sonic thing. I just don't like the excuse, oh, it's a retro style level. It's like, no, bitch. They probably thought that they complained about a level design, so they just fucking reuse the ones that they like. And it's not like you go, oh, it's a retro zone, because then they would make it look like a retro zone, They just clearly tried to get away with it, I feel. That's just what it is.
And people were
But
like,
that's what I'm saying, is like that. There's a difference between like Throwback Galaxy, right? From
exactly.
from Mario Galaxy, where it's literally called Throwback Galaxy. They use for Mario 64, they try to show you that like that's what it is, and that's what it's based on. Between, oh, here's a new title. We're gonna act like this is just not. There's nothing. This is not a throwback. It says Super Mario 64. This is a brand new level, guys. You know what I mean?
That's what.
So that's a massive difference.
6-4 Galaxy.
That's what makes it kind of shady, because they made it look completely different. And then you had the first impression was like, oh my god, these boost levels, they're a little bit short, but they're the best part of the game. And then you find out they just took levels from Generations Unleashed, and they actually cut them shorter. They're like, I guess 90 seconds, 60 to 120 seconds long levels, and there's like 7 in each zone, I guess. And everyone they've shown, the only one, that section of that highway, people haven't identified yet that I know of, if that's new or not. But it does kind of feel like they're like, well, these people love Generations, people love these levels, and it just feels like, hey, let's put them in the game.
If that was for time constraints.
And
Like-
it'd be fine. Like if it was a story element that was like, all right,
Like Generations like that. Like,
Sonic is
I guess
Like,
that wasn't all.
we're going into Sonic. People are like, oh, Sonic lost his memory. The Sonic fans are just, I mean, they crack me up. Sonic lost his memory, so it makes sense. What does losing his memory make? That's why the levels look different, but that's why the theme's different, because his memory, he lost his
Doesn't
memory.
do with anything.
No.
It has nothing to do with any.
Nothing to
That's
do with anything.
it makes no sense. He lost his his memory so that we had to replay the same levels. That's why.
He lost his memory, and y'all lost your creativity.
Yeah.
Like if
That's
this is
because,
a,
like, if you lose your memory, then you can't have the same levels. We wouldn't know it's the same levels anyway.
Logic.
so if this level is new, I will say I do like the way he does can freely move across 4 lanes instead of just being like locked into like a set path. And it looks like it's pretty forgiving on the on that little boost circle, but it looks like you actually have to like jump off and kind of time it. But then it does the like this little. If you hit that, you're going to the right spot. If you hit the ring, it's going to boost you in the right direction. But it does look
I
like
can't even see when the platforms appear. It's confusing.
it
the
does
shit
look
out of
like
me.
you have to like kind of just jump out, know the shortcut, almost like a Mario Kart track, know where the shortcut is, and
Wait, he was clearly like.
yeah, he
aiming
was
for
off
it.
on that one. But you know, it looks like
He's like, "Oh, I'm going there.
Robert might play that level and not even do any of this, not even see any of this.
Yeah.
You know, like or I might, or I might miss it. You know, like it looks like you got to take a little bit of effort to go off the beaten path, but then it's going to turn out this level was done from an old game, or maybe there's one new one in each of the 7. You know.
Yeah.
But
Oh, there's 7 of them. Is that what it is?
they're saying there's 7 of the cyberspace levels per quote unquote world, or like the area in the open world.
I mean, that's a lot.
So Terrell says the highway is completely new.
Yeah, I didn't hear anything about the highway being like a
The
copy
level
or
design
something.
looks improved. What do you mean? It's identical. The sections that were compared are identical. It just moves at a different speed, so they had to shrink it, and then they just changed the theme. I don't know. Like I said, if they just made it, hey, this is the retro, this cyberspace retro levels, and made it clear that's what it is, called it the same name. Okay, you know, it's replaced some classic levels you remade in this new engine. Okay.
Does that turn you off from the game? Does that make you not want to buy it?
It depends on how much of the content is actually reused levels, and that's, you know, that would be a factor for me. You know, I'm probably not going to pick up the game anyway, but to hear that, you know, let's say half the cyberspace levels in each world are just reused, and they weren't clearly stated that they were reusing levels, and that seems a little shady to me.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the game,
It just looks boring as fuck to me.
yeah, the
I'm sorry.
open world. I'm sorry, you know, this Switch Force isn't my favorite channel, and he hasn't played it. But before that video, I was telling you guys, because I watched a lot of the gameplay from Gamescom, the trailer and the new trailer, and I was like, dude, you're gonna be doing that auto attack, you know, if you just probably tap one button, have Sonic get sucked to the enemy and kick him 3 times and bounce off, and then you go a circle around them, kind of like Wonderful 101. I think, you know, I don't know if Wonderful 101 you had to go around enemies. I know you drew it for obviously the shape.
We could do Okami, yeah. You know,
I think maybe,
Starlander
but it feels
1
like
does
you
it too.
a lot of circling around enemies that triggers something. Then you can attack, circle around enemies. I said it like you're gonna be drawing a lot of circles. I hadn't seen. All I did was see some footage, and then Switch Force made a video and got just roasted by the Sonic fan base. He said it looks boring. Drawing circles looks boring, you know. And my fear is that the open world's gonna be a very formulaic thing where you have enemy types.
Passionate bunch.
You go around them, and then you can attack them, and then, you know, you move on. I don't see a lot of enemy variety happening. Maybe I'm wrong, but we'll see. I just think it's a little bit of a bad look so far with the reuse levels. I know, clocked it.
That Sonic fan base is passionate, boy.
Yeah, they are. I mean, well, they did that in Galaxy, or, you know, like, yeah. And that was one, wasn't it? Like
They
that
love
one
that whataboutism.
You could go get 3 stars in that level, and then the the 2 or 3 green stars. It wasn't a whole world of that. Like, it was just one area, and I actually wish they
Throwback
had.
Galaxy. And
I
then
would
you
have
had
loved for them to do one more from 64, or did they?
well, they also did remember I forget the name. I forget, but where you reverse all the Mario Galaxy 1 bosses. They had that Galaxy. But
So
I don't know,
yeah,
you know.
I remember the name.
Well, didn't they say like that they were looking to score high, and if that was your main motivation, let's go pick the best levels from that people really like from other games.
that's what it kind of feels like.
That's a quick, easy way to score high.
I did bump up my prediction for the Metacritic to 70 from 60, because I think the Sonic fan base and it does look better in areas than I expected. So I bumped up my prediction to a 70, high 60s Metacritic. I know.
Name, is it Damon Hatfield on IGN? I think that's him.
He's on.
He made a statement about this is a few years ago. He made a statement basically saying, "Was Sonic ever good?" And he's still getting hate mail.
I say the same thing, man.
I remember that, and I disagreed with that. Obviously, wholeheartedly.
3D
Yeah, I mean, I totally disagree with it, but it was a funny
douchebag,
little take.
Because
they still on his head.
it felt
Yeah.
like it felt like Adventures had enough potential to build upon, even though it wasn't like I wasn't in love with the game. I still felt like there was some potential for them to build upon for 3D Sonic.
Sonic Adventure was so much fun, and like I say all the time, it was and still is to this day, until this Frontiers comes out and I see what it does, the only Sonic Adventure game that we've had. I don't care what people say about Sonic Adventure 2. It was not a Sonic Adventure game.
It was very streamlined.
It was very streamlined, very linear. You go from a level, cutscene, level, cutscene, level, cutscene.
But in a way, wouldn't that be similar to Mario Galaxy and Galaxy 2? Huh? On Retro?
The argument's always already count for games you guys love.
Yeah, man, I will
one.
never understand how Retro never finished Galaxy 2, and that blows my mind. Like, that game is
Yeah, I don't understand that.
How the hell, like,
It was
I
at the
have a
very
hard time
least.
playing it here and there.
At the very least, it was equal in level quality and level design.
Oh yeah, 100%.
The thing is, like, I'm such like a lapsed 3D Sonic fan now. You know, I bought Sonic Mania. I was there for Sonic Mania. I was like, come on, here's my throwback game. That's the fucking throwback right
you
there.
went to Mania? You got Mania?
You know, Sonic Mania, right? Played that. And I'm such a lapsed 3D Sonic fan, because even with, like, watching that footage just then, you know, we're all talking about the city and stuff, but no one's really talking about, you know, what's Sonic doing?
That's what I was saying. That's what I was saying.
Running across the road. Rob, sorry, you're running down the road, collect some coins for whatever fuck knows reason. Or what, you're still gonna get an extra life after 100 coins? Probably not. You know, so what are you collecting the coins for? Anyway, the coins, the rings. Collecting the rings. He jumps off the side of the road, enters the hoop, flies to the other side, goes to the grindy rail, jumps through another hoop, lands on another road again, starts running. There's cars there. The cars aren't moving.
The cars aren't moving. That's what I was saying. I was like,
they're pointless obstacles, because if you're so free, and there's like a trail of coins, like a red coin at the end, if you wanted to and you missed it, you would stop, go back and get the red coin, and then carry on running. There's literally nothing to it. So what I always said, right, is that with 3D Sonic games, they never evolved Sonic and anything else around him. They've always just been still. Even like the enemies, like Mario evolved his enemies from Mario 1, 2, and 3 straight away. You jump on a Goomba in Mario 1, squash it flat. You jump to Mario 2, you have to pick them up and throw them. You go to Mario 3, Koopa Troopers now got like double shells, and you can pick them up and you can throw them and all this stuff. All these creatures evolve with Mario's abilities and how they would entertain and react to him. But like, you know, with Sonic, nothing ever changed. You still had the little wheelie fucking bug things. They would just carry on running, and so you could stop it. You could, like, people demonstrate this in 3D Sonic games. You would stop, and they would literally just carry on going like that in front of you. They wouldn't like head towards you or anything. They just shit enemies. They never evolved to like, Robotnik, the greatest fucking scientist in the fucking world, never evolved any of his standard enemies to really hunt and go after Sonic's abilities and stuff. And Retro, what was that game you were playing? That spaceship game. You fucking roll down a hill, you go, fucking roll like that. All those physics and everything. I haven't seen nothing of that in Sonic Frontiers. So not even Sonic with his massive environment is utilizing his abilities with the environment in any creative and meaningful way. You still got grind rails. You still got these stupid circles that you bounce through.
It's the boost pads. It's the springboards. It's the circles that send you forward, and the grind rails. You have this huge open world, this freedom, and then you just, like I say, it just looks like they're just randomly putting grind rails, because what else? I don't think they know anything else. So Sandstorm has been kind of quiet on this subject.
I was just about to say, what was up with the they still haven't explained what's up with the grind rails just being in the air for no reason. Like there's
that was Juice's number one pet peeve. So
I'm still trying to figure that out. It's almost like you know how when you go to an arcade, you play an arcade game, and it's like you don't really need a story, you don't need a backstory, you're just there to play the game. But like Sonic just took that moniker and like has been playing it on consoles over and over, you know what I mean? And so it's like at the point, kind of like Clocked said, it's like, why are you grabbing these rings? What are these rings really actually doing for you? Do they hold the same weight like they did in the original Sonic games? Like, I don't know. Like, just watching the game.
I was gonna say there was some cohesion though, like in the earlier games. So when you are rolling down stuff, you'd be rolling down vines, thick vines and stuff like that. You go to Sonic Adventure, the grind rails, actual handrails and stuff, where people are walking down stairs and all this stuff. But in this game, it's like it's gone. No, fuck it, we'll just put floating rails.
I haven't been paying almost any attention to this. Is he still collecting rings as like a life thing? Or
I don't know.
We don't know if it's a life thing. We don't really know.
He needs. At this point, Sonic should have an energy bar or something like that.
Yeah.
Like every other. Come on, you gotta involve that.
You get hit, and do you like lose health when you don't?
Do you lose rings? You gotta put the ring like you used to, or?
Well, in that city level we saw just now, there wasn't a single damn enemy. So it's just like, well, is this a bonus stage? Collect as many rings as you can. But then, like I say, if it's also so free, collecting those rings really aren't an issue, because they kind of always have done, a bit like Mario coins acted as waypoints, to say like head in this direction. But this world just it's like, look at these enemies.
Look at this auto.
Yeah, I was gonna say
so much.
I don't think the enemies look cool at all, man. Personally, like
remember the original.
They can't touch him. They can't touch him.
Polygonal...
You run circles around him.
And then
you fight against the Polygon team on Smash
in Smash 64. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at all the potential of this. Oh, you got this open world. You got Sonic who can move fast, and
Polygon team.
Like I was talking about, you could build up your speed.
I don't think he runs fast enough when he's like going around these enemies.
Well, I'm just saying Sonic's known for running fast. I didn't mean.
But don't you think they should be like really fast?
Look, and you got this boost that slows dirt. Like you should have jumps where you're like, man, I wonder if I get going at full speed, I can make that jump. And instead of just like, okay, there's the rail grinds I was talking about. To me, it's like, all right, we have this open world. Guys, development team, fill it with stuff to do, like. Yeah. And that's just what it feels like.
It's
and
a bad philosophy for level.
Terrell said that he says it's going to get a 75, so that would be a pretty high score.
I was going to say 76.
Especially for Sonic.
They're just sitting there.
Yeah, high score.
What is going on?
Now, if he was moving so fast that it seemed like
any of this, so.
If he was moving so fast that it seemed like everything else was standing still, that would be one thing. See, down below the cars are zooming.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Maybe that's what it is, but
so
that
you haven't
still
seen
doesn't
this
make
yet,
sense.
T?
No.
Let me back that up.
I haven't watched any of this Sonic stuff.
Because it does look like you have to make some leaps of faith and find the extra path, like the path he takes. I think
you're just sitting in the lane, just sitting there.
I don't know if I'd call that a leap of faith, but he just
that looks like just like a little short optional. But this, to me, like most people might not go for that. But why have the auto stuff? Why have these rings? Why not just have platforms that you have to use your skill to hit?
You see? Then you have the platforms that are all separating, and he just jumps completely over the whole thing. So what was the point of the platform then? Why'd you have a platform there? You might as well have an extra little challenge that you have to actually get over there. instead of without those platforms there.
And
You might
these,
as
I'll
well.
be, I'll be so bored
cinematic-
fighting these monsters.
Yeah, look at
It's
this. It
so
just goes to
dry.
cinematic over and over. Just repeats cinematic. You do a circle, then it does a cinematic.
And don't you guys think? I know they're talking about, like, don't you think those animations look really rough? Like it's
They
just
are
it's the
rough.
complete smooth circle. Like it's just going. Like, look,
Yeah.
I don't know. I still feel like the animations look out of dreams. I really believe it. You know,
The game needs
and
another year in the.
and I think don't get me wrong. Like, obviously dreams you could do a lot with it, but I just feel like as for like this, they're touting this as like the big Sonic game. I don't know. I feel like when you look at the animations, how he goes like, and just circles around, just the way it looks, it just looks kind of rough, man. It looks.
Didn't somebody say from the team that was like, oh, this could be an engine we could use in an adventure game?
Yeah,
It's
I
like,
think.
well, why didn't you just make the adventure
Just
game?
make
See,
and
here's-
not this?
here's
They
another
don't wanted
example.
it in Sonic.
All you had to do was auto target.
They're just dangling the leaves and trying to drag the fan base along. That's what that shit is.
Did you? I don't
This
know
is
if you
an
guys.
adventure, but maybe the next one will be buy this one.
See, I don't mind just like the railgrounds on the ground there, or the rails
Yeah, I think
on the
that's. I
ground.
personally, I think that's cool. You go
Once
around
you
there.
find it, you find it.
Yeah.
You can grind.
Yeah.
But again, even if you have the rails on the ground, make it like a stone wall that you can grind over or some shit.
Or
I
make it
don't know.
where it requires something from the user. Right now, you're just
Give
watching
some
and you're
story,
jumping.
some story
Yeah.
reason for it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just implement it
That-
into the level. It just feels cheap.
It's
I
not
don't know.
that
You
hard.
can have
That's
such a
what I was
realistic
really-
world, and then
See, I don't
nobody's-
mind like another auto jump pad. Like he was just running on the side of a mountain. Why not just have that be the gameplay where you can make your own fucking platforms. You can.
Well, it looks like.
It
I mean,
wouldn't
to be
be
fair,
as
at least with that, maybe it looks like
interesting.
you could just keep running. I wonder if you can keep running.
See,
If
this
you
is
keep
from
running,
a month
like, that's
ago. This
cool.
isn't from the new footage. This like, okay, you see some coins, but then it's just boost pads or not boost pads, but jump pads. It's like it does everything for you.
This looks really boring. It's just
I actually don't
Very
mind
boring.
the setting. I kind of like the.
I
There's
just want to
nothing
know what
going
the
on. It looks
story
nice.
is behind it.
What a
Because
thick.
you
thick
gotta
enemy.
have a reason as to why these rails are in it. Or is it like the world
enemies are
distorted or
hideous.
something, or is
Wow.
it because ugly aliens have?
He
like-
also
Got
has two
hourglass body, man.
Yeah, that's what bothers me too. Is the little boost run, that temporary like. It still doesn't feel like you're moving fast. We watched this before, like a month ago.
What do you see? What I mean? Like the way he's like, he did. I don't know. Just the way he
lot of auto-
floats around.
A lot of
And
auto
just, like,
targeting,
I don't
a lot of
it
cinematic.
doesn't feel like he's a part of this world.
he did an instant transmission, I guess, is what that was.
He looks way
See, like,
removed, detached.
Tell
from
me,
this
like, okay,
world
watch.
in.
He's gonna take this tower down. Okay, you did have to dodge. Did have to dodge some attacks in that pound.
So is that like
This looks
what he
more
just did
involved
there? Is
than
that
anything
like
else I've
something
seen. But
you're
then you just do the auto target and a couple attacks and you're out. Like I feel like a lot of it's gonna be this right here.
Yeah, probably.
And if
And I
that's-
don't mind that but I just feel like it probably could get repetitive
I don't mind
after
it
so
either,
many.
just-
I think after 20, 30 hours, you're probably not gonna be like, I'm just gonna run by every enemy.
I would highly,
Hope
if
the
this
game
game
is
is
not
20,
that
30
long.
hours,
Yeah, I
I'd
was
be
just about to
stunned.
say.
Yeah, it's
after
probably
23
10.
hours,
Jesus
it
Christ.
should be
But
done.
a
He's 10 to
fucking
12 at top-
Sonic game
tops.
30 hours, I'd be like, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah, I'd say after 3 hours, you're probably just gonna run past every enemy. You don't have to fight.
Like,
Yeah.
that's a big problem I feel with the visuals, like what you said, that Sonic doesn't feel like he's part of this world. Because like I think if you just like make the grass light green, it makes it look more like Green Hill Zone. Because it's like when you have Mario in like New Donk City, it feels still like it's a Mario level, because they adjust with the colors and everything.
Mhm.
It's not like they put Mario in like a engine for GTA 6
Yeah,
city
this
or some
looks like
shit,
a
you know what I mean?
Xenoblade Chronicles world, honestly. Or
Say, this reminds me of like Sonic
Yeah.
Lost World, the Zelda shit. Like,
Okay. Well, I
You know what I
mean,
mean?
I
Where-
feel like that had more
they had more color.
style.
I'm just saying, the fact that he felt like he wasn't really a part of that world. That's what I meant as far as that goes.
See, I
Well, I still think they meshed it with, if I remember, they meshed it with like the Lost
some
World art
platforming.
style.
which he
I
doesn't.
could be misremembering, but it's,
See, I don't mind this stuff, but as soon as you get on the rails and soon you have the jump pads that take you exactly where they want you to go, then it's like, what's the point? Why not have to use some skill to get up there? Like, I
Or
like
why
that
have
you
the
can
rest of
run
the
up
shit
that. I don't like the climb.
at all. Why not just have the rail just ride up the shit?
So I mean,
why
yeah,
have that little road?
I think this could be, if this was just like the beginning and they could expand upon it, and I actually had hope they would, then I would be like, yeah, this, I could see myself picking this up. But from everything I've seen, all the new footage now, it's just like, yeah, they're just kind of mixing a bunch of ideas, throwing in some classic levels, some classic level design, the boost stuff.
The game is 2 months away. They're not.
Well, this was an old build, guys.
Yeah.
This was a month ago, but this was an early build. That's what they were saying. The Switch version is gonna look
I'm
like
gonna say there's gotta be
trash.
there's gotta be a reason to get all the
We've
way up
seen
there.
the Switch version, haven't we?
I don't
Felt
think
like we
so.
saw it already.
Apparently, at the direct.
Wasn't it on? Yeah, I was gonna say, wasn't it on the
Yeah,
direct?
it looked, it looked like a Switch version.
Yeah, it's
And
still
it's-
solid though, to be honest.
It was solid. Yeah, I'm just saying it
Let's look.
clearly it's not going to look quote unquote as good as this footage.
Oh yeah, now I remember.
Which
was like
honestly,
a
I think
sim-
it looks pretty good.
that was like a
It
Yeah,
probably
man.
looks better actually because
Yeah, less grass. I mean, way less grass, so it actually kind of almost feels. Yeah, look at the pop
that
in
frame
there.
rate, though.
My God, let me back that up.
No, don't complain about the popping on this version. Go back to the other one, and the pop is terrible. All
It
over.
wasn't this bad though. Like just as he looks up at the tower, like stuff literally.
No, trust me. In one video you watched earlier, the platform literally appeared above him, almost like a few feet in front of him. It was ridiculous. I'm surprised no one noticed.
This definitely
I
looks
can't
like a
complain
Switch
about
version.
pop-in ever. It's a video game thing.
Yeah, I don't personally really care.
I personally, it doesn't bother me in any game.
Unless
No,
it's
it
literally
depends.
like 3
It
feet every
depends.
Unless
single
you're
depends.
hopping in and you're already in the area.
It
and
depends
Yeah,
on
yeah,
the game though. It can take me out of the game if it's.
If you're moving 100 miles per hour like Sonic, you need something in front of you. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
Well, there's Galaxy levels that have that where the platforms pop up as you walk towards them. I
Yeah,
guess
but
it wasn't-
that's a
Wasn't as bad
puzzle
as I thought.
element,
the
isn't
game.
it?
I know. I'm kidding.
I was gonna
That was
say
a
about
design element.
I got you.
That actually made it terrifying because, like, man, is the platform going to pop
Right.
come in front of me now, or am I going to fall? You know. So anyway, enough Sonic talk. We had
Getting
I guess
vertigo and shit.
Halo. They canceled the couch co-op mode in Halo Infinite, and it's
Oh no.
you know, and the thing is,
343, you're
What's
trash.
happened?
somebody already has it working via a menu glitch on the Xbox
Yeah,
Series X.
it's crazy. Yeah.
It's embarrassing, bro.
And a lot of people think it's the Xbox One version. Just say scrap
Maybe.
that version. Just say
Right.
this feature's only
Say
available.
you can't get it in that version, right? Just say
Exactly.
it's only available.
And of
for
course,
the Series X
It's
version.
probably not the most sought after, like, going to be utilized feature,
Is it-
but
Is
who's
it,
still,
is it
who's
free
still
for
playing
free,
on an
though?
Xbox One
Right?
at this
Yeah.
point? Come on.
Is it a developer or is it Microsoft? Because we need to look at the
Well, I
whole
think it's
scenario.
both.
We need to look at the whole scenario because at the end of the day, we know that this entire game was rushed to market. We know it was, even when they delayed it.
it
It's
was
still
started
rushed.
development so long
You
ago.
got
That's
so cheap on the Xbox Series X box, and the game wasn't even fucking ready.
Yeah,
Like that is
it's still not.
unbelievable detachment. Yeah, and it's still not.
When's
right.
it the
So,
Forge going to be done? November?
Microsoft, that's your fault too.
I think that's the Forge beta.
Whatever,
They're looking
whatever
for Forge to
issues,
save them because they're like, oh, we'll put some shit out there and they can create their own shit
Mhm.
Yeah.
because we can't do it. It's like this shit is embarrassing, man.
I reckon
Embarrassing.
whatever time or issues they might have been having, I think Microsoft might have just looked at this and said, "Fuck couch co-op. No one's gonna play it anymore.
I get
Just
that.
Get online."
But with everything
Yeah,
else that's
then-
happened, it's kind of another.
Don't promise it.
No,
Like,
no, I'm
say
not.
that from the
I'm
beginning.
not against that. I'm
No,
trying
I
to
know
put
you- I know
reason
you're
as to
not,
why, as
yeah.
to why they've done it. Because at the end of the day, I was there. You were there for when Combat Evolved launched, and we had couch
20
co-op,
years ago?
4-player split screen, in the package. Yeah, same with Halo 2, same with Halo 3. It just when you have these packages of these games that have had these consistencies throughout to get to this point, and then you see like some fans just saying, "Oh, the open world is just too open to have as as split screen and stuff." I'm just like, man, we got and all some people say, "Oh, can you think of any other open world game with co-op?" I'm like,
Doesn't matter.
Halo's Infinite World, yeah, it's big. I know it's big. but
It ain't that big.
we all it ain't that big. And we all understand compromises when it comes to split screen. That was the whole thing about split screen. It was always compromise, always compromise. We all always understood
there's a little
it.
game by the name of Lego City Undercover, where you can
Yeah,
do that shit
on the
and
Switch.
you can just fucking take off
on the
and
Switch.
be gone
Yeah.
on the Switch. So I don't want to hear that shit.
Yeah,
That's a horrible excuse.
and
Yeah,
with
there's
everything
plenty
else,
of games you got. Yeah, sorry, go on.
I was just gonna say, with everything else, if this was the only issue, then I don't think anybody would say care too much. But it's just been issue after issue, like Lenny says. This was supposed to be a launch game. Like, remember they showed it like 2-3 months before it was supposed to launch, and remember, like, people were like, whoa. Like,
This was Halo 5. I wouldn't give a shit. That's my main problem, is that the core game is really good. Like the campaign, the multiplayer is it works
fun.
really well.
Fun.
But it's just not enough there. It's not what we, as Halo fans,
Didn't they say
are
that
used
they,
to.
in their minds, this was the last Halo game?
It was a 10-year game. They said it was
Well,
going
it's
to
supposed to be a 10-year game. This is your 10-year game.
Yeah.
it's gonna take them 10 years to finish it and make it.
Well, you know what's funny is
Maybe that's
that
what they meant.
I don't know if you saw that again, like these updates. I guess they're so far apart, like every 6 months or so, or even longer. Like they don't even have like a report player button, and so the second update, not this update is going, but next year's update is going to have one of the features is a report player button to report a player type thing.
Jesus.
I'm like, what? How's that like why is that even like guess what, buddies? We're bringing a report a player. How excited are you? Like, what? That's like a part of the update.
These service games these days, man, they're just going too far now.
And then that's another example
They're in
of
over their head, and Microsoft should recognize.
When did we accept our games being hacked apart and delivered to us months and years after the main game? When did we decide to accept this? What the fuck?
I think
The biggest reason
Horrible.
the biggest reason because of that is what we've been saying, is that both the PS5 and the new Xbox, I don't even know what to call the Xbox. I don't even fucking know which one is which anymore.
The Series
But
X.
like the newest Xbox, is because they had this competition of rushing the consoles out, wanting to be the first and stuff, and that's why neither the PlayStation is available and stuff, and why the Xbox has any fucking games ready, because the systems were just not supposed to be ready.
It was
yet.
a situation where just like the Wii U, Microsoft felt they had to get a do-over on the console, and they engineered two really well made, well thought out versions of the Series S and X. Like that, no question about it. They did the right things.
They forgot the games,
and then they put it out without the games. And the only reason the PS5 launched was because the Xbox launched.
Yeah.
So I think Sony might have been thinking probably this holiday would have been their PS5.
Yeah, but here's the thing: even if the Xbox Series X launched this holiday, Halo still isn't fucking ready. It still isn't ready.
Yeah, that's
damn.
crazy.
I think the reason they get it, the reason they're okay with that is just because it's free to play. The whole like.
But that's the
multiplayer,
other
thing.
Multiplayer is free to
How do
play.
you charge?
The multiplayer. That's what I'm saying. Like they're probably like, well, it's free to play.
But then they
they're not
charge
too crazy
for
with
those
it.
that don't want to do Game Pass. I mean, the game's $60 without the multiplayer, but that's like, the multiplayer's free. But it's just like it was just a weird situation from the get go. But speaking of multiplayer being absent from a game, The Last of Us Part 1 reviews, I didn't know that was coming out. I guess
I forgot it was.
I was
Me
thinking,
too. I forgot.
I don't know. I was thinking like November, but I guess that's got to work. All of a sudden, reviews started dropping.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
And that game has some weird glitches that didn't exist. Where it's
Really?
not like a massive thing, but a couple instances where Joel's getting attacked by nothing. There's like invisible enemies. He runs. All of a sudden, he's getting and blood splatting. It's like
Really?
It's like that wasn't even present in the original version.
I've seen a couple
It's a
things
remake,
of
man.
like. I've seen a couple things of like there's like a road in like the PS4 Pro version with like trees and all this other stuff, but like the PS5 version doesn't have that. It's like all grass. Like they've done some weird.
Well, they've changed the look of some things. I watched like
Yeah.
some comparisons.
They changed the lighting as well. When I saw them in like at the toolkit, I was like, what? I was like, this looks better on the PS4 because you could actually see fucking Joel making tools compared to the PS5 when in that certain location where they changed the lighting to be even darker. And just like, why? You know, I know you have some. Sometimes I just think even with these remakes, they'll just slap on a certain engine and not actually think about the scenario and
I didn't
scene
see that. What do you mean when he's getting in his backpack?
No, like when you go to a workbench and you can upgrade
Like
your gun and
craft
stuff
or
like
something?
that.
Yeah, but
Yeah, when you're crafting.
the only thing you, I don't think that was in the original. I think.
Well,
I don't remember. Did you
been
go
a
to a
while, it's been a while
workbench? But
since
it was
I-
only for your weapon. It was only for your gun.
it was for
Yeah.
something like that.
But they pulled
Yeah,
in
you
the
make up stuff.
in The Last of Us Part 2. They had you go to a bench, flick on a light, and you can clearly see your gun as you're working on it. So I'm not sure.
Oh yeah,
They
I
put
like
that in this game.
Yeah, that
But
was
the
a cool
thing is, they launch it. You know, it wasn't like major glitches or nothing, but there's signs, just like in Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, where they didn't do any texture work to, like, I think it was like one of the comic books you find. There's parts of the game where it had the original textures in
really
this new
I didn't see
version.
it.
It's very minor. Someone found a couple, and it's like, did they rush through this? Like, apparently it started as a project from another. They were testing another studio to see if they could port using the Last of Us 2 engine, and then
I
Naughty
thought
Dog
that was.
took it
I
over.
remember hearing it. Wasn't it Bend Studio that was supposed to be working on
Something
the Last
like
of Us?
that. But to not have the multiplayer, which I didn't care about, and I played it once, but and still charge full, the full Sony, the PS5 price. That's every review said the same thing. Like, this shouldn't be a full price. 70 is the new full price for PS5. It shouldn't be
Definitely not.
that. It should
Definitely
be
not.
a $40-$50 game, and that's all. Because the AI improvements are minimal. The controls and stuff are improved, but
I think these new consoles, fucking disgusting. That's what I think
Yeah.
about these new consoles. We are over 2 years in, right? Over 2 years fucking in. We're getting the remake of fucking PS3 game again, and I'm just like, I said this before. You go back to the Dreamcast. That fucker was out for 2 years, man. You had Sonic Adventure, Sonic Adventure 1, Shenmue 1, Shenmue 2, Jet Set Radio, Crazy Taxi, Sega Rally 2, Soul Calibur, Power Stone 1 and 2, Marvel vs. Capcom 2, Skies of Arcadia, Grandia 2. I could go through a list of brand new
On and on and on.
fucking games in 2 years. And I was watching Angry Console Gamer again. He's like, my top 10 PS5 games. I'm like, oh, maybe I've missed out on some stuff
What?
here. Let's have
Is there
a
10?
look.
I was just
Yeah,
gonna say,
and
is
he
there
mentioned
10?
in there were 2 exclusives. He had Returnal and he had Ratchet and Clank. The rest
Okay.
of them were all you can get on the PS4 and multi-platform, whatever. I was just like, I'm like, what the fuck are we doing? I understand people like this console. It's a brand new console. It makes your new games look all lovely and jubbly. Yeah, there's the odd exclusive here, there. I'm just like, we're over 2 years in, right? What the fuck are developers doing?
Yeah.
What's
I
going
also
on?
feel
What are we
the
doing?
problem is that like when they figure out gamers like a certain thing, like we had in the Sonic thing, they just regurgitate it over and over. And I'm gonna keep saying it. I'm sorry, but The Last of Us had like a remaster, and now they're remaking the remaster. And like, I'm sorry, maybe it's a personal opinion, but like you're remaking something so close it just released there. The visual, it doesn't feel like it's an evolution visual wise. It's just a different visual style. Like, I'm sorry, but when you see some of the characters, I feel they look way better in the game that came before that than in the new game.
see, I
You're just
disagree with
changing
that.
things to change things.
I think the actual facial animations are of 2 generations ahead
They're
of the
pretty.
original.
It's
You
not
might
like
not
what,
like the
it's
way-
not like what you have in Xenoblade on the Wii and Xenoblade now on the Switch. It's not the same fucking difference like that. It's
Yeah,
just
no,
a
I
different
would agree
style.
with that though. Yeah.
Well,
Like they're obviously
It's not the
clearly better,
same.
but the leap is not.
it is,
like,
but it's in the subtleties. It's not an.
That's
It's
what I'm
not
saying.
as
The
obvious.
subtleties.
That's what I mean,
that
it's in
would-
the
But-
subtleties. It's like
subtleties
a
is
slight
literally by
difference.
definition not a massive.
Yeah.
They're subtle.
But
you
it
know?
still required the leap in power and in game
They're
engines.
great subtleties. Yes.
But so it's not like, oh my god, that I can see the difference if they're like a screenshot. But to me it's night and day. Like, to see the actual moving animation side by side in a video, like it does look like 2 generation difference to me.
It's a taste as well.
But-
at the end of the day, people like that level of detail. It's like Juice, you mentioned the other day. You'd love to see Xenoblade 3 on the Switch 2 or the or whatever stuff like that, because Monolith Soft create these incredible environments. Imagine what they could, create and draw you in and stuff like that if they had the power into. I fundamentally disagree, because I can get sucked into the world of Final Fantasy VI, and I'm literally in that world.
Yeah, I'm not saying
in a pixel world. I'm just like this is, and I look at Xenoblade Chronicle 3, and I said, one thing I did say is that there's nothing else on the market. It's like when Xenoblade 1 came out, you never had a world of that scale before. When you're running out of the Gower Plain for the first time, see those giant cliffs going over the edge of that. This game was coming out around the time like Final Fantasy 13 and stuff like that, and it's Xenoblade 1 was doing shit that 13 couldn't even bother touching, for the vast majority of the game. And when I look at Xenoblade 3, there are rock faces and geologies, the way they've actually structured, designed these worlds visually to look, that you might zoom into some of them and the textures look blurry and all this stuff, but just the actual thought design of the environment itself, I just think is second to none. It's just incredible.
Yeah. So
I don't need high jiggly wigglies to.
What I'll say to that is, I'm not. Yeah, I did say that about the future of Monolith Soft, but even this game that just came out, seeing just putting it on, they're not modding it. I mean, it's technically a mod to run at 60. They're taking 3, the Yuzu emulator. You bump up the resolution. It's not adding textures. It's just bumping up what's already there to a higher resolution, running it at 60. And I'm like if this was an option, like a legit option, I would buy like the Switch Pro tomorrow. That's just for me personally, because this is
it's definitely for you.
It's like, I know you don't like when I say this. They obviously built the game beyond the Switch's hardware when you can just put it on PC at 4K and it looks great without somebody having to do texture packs. It just looks great at a higher resolution. So that tells me they put in the work. The texture quality and stuff is there. It's just you don't get to see it with the Switch, And
it's just where we differ. It's like, I think it looks great.
Yeah, I mean, it looks.
Kind of say that with like even the GameCube. Like the GameCube had progressive scan, all this stuff. That if you just bump it up as is, it looks fantastic.
Yeah, like the Dolphin emulator. So what I'm saying is, they don't need to go in and do anything else. It just on hardware that could run it at 60 FPS at a higher resolution, just a clear, because as much as I complained about Xenoblade Chronicles being blurry, I actually feel 3 is actually below Xenoblade Chronicles for me. Like, it's fair. I would consider it a fairly blurry, not like really bad, but I would consider it fairly blurry. For me, on my TV, it looks blurrier than I expected it to be.
Do you have a Robert TV where it's like 800 feet?
No.
Whoa,
To
hold
me,
on,
I
hold
actually
on,
think
Andrew, hold on a
Xenoblade
second.
Chronicles 1 is a little sharper.
Where my TV go, bro?
I think it's a little sharper than 3.
You get that Avatar TV, man.
Because they're pushing a lot more with this, and it's impressive what they see. What I'm saying is not to take away what they've achieved on the Switch itself. I'm more complimenting what they did, and then seeing what it actually could look like.
But then I think, like I said, it's just we never argue about it. It's just where we always greatly differ.
Like if the Switch,
it's just that.
Let's say if the base model Switch had an option to run the game at 60 and look like this, with some new new scaling technology, everybody's gonna enable it. Like, no one's gonna not enable it. If they didn't have to buy anything or emulate it, if they could just some miracle upscaling technology came out and it worked on the Switch and you could just
that's the nature of video games. We're always gonna want more. People are gonna want more with their PS5s right now. I'm sure people are begging, for their.
But anyway, that's all. I just wanted to say. I think the game, just like with the GameCube games, just seeing them at a higher resolution without doing texture packs, it really shows the quality of the work they put in with the textures and stuff. And 60 FPS just adds something. I don't care what type of game it is. It just adds something to it.
For
in
sure.
every game basically just looks better that way. But
I'd be happy with like GameCube era games if they push gameplay and AI and all that stuff and made that better, made that reach where my mind would go
yeah,
as far as what the
that's
future
why
video
we were talking
games
about the
would be.
PS5. I'm fine with the honestly. If you're gonna say what's your favorite top 5 PS5 games, I'm not. This is, I mean, 10 years ago this would be absurd, but to me, I guess I've just adapted owning the PS5. Elden Ring's on my list of my favorite PS5 games. It's not a PS5 exclusive. It's a cross-gen game, and that's the new reality. But I don't just like think less of it because it also is available on the PS4. That's just
I think
how.
you should think less of it. I don't think anybody's thinking.
But
less of it.
it's
just like,
it's not.
It doesn't really reach.
How is it? Yes, it started as a PS4 game, but how do you just like the Breath of the Wild? You can make an argument that it's a Wii U game ported to Switch. You can make an argument that it's a Switch game because it had cross development, but it exists on both.
But nobody's gonna say, "Oh, Madden 2002 is my favorite GameCube game." Like nobody.
But it's
like,
like, what's your favorite Switch game? Breath of the Wild. Well, that's a Wii U game. It doesn't count as a Switch game.
But again, that's a tiny nuance. It's like, okay, well, yeah, but everybody knows it was only 13 something million people on the Wii U.
But
so
the base point's the same though.
Not only that, but again, we always say that the big thing with the Switch is that you were able to take it on the go portably. It's such a fresh thing. Like when it launched,
get it,
like
but
in 2017.
the principle doesn't change. Like Days Gone, playing on the PS5, that's a PS4 game. It's not it doesn't have a native PS5. They did the unlock the frame rate. That's what they did. It's a PS4 game. But then you take like Elden Ring. To me, that's both. It's a PS4 and a PS5. It's a Series X.
Well, yeah,
and
at that
Xbox
point,
One.
yeah, no, at that point, I would
You
call
know,
it.
like-
there's nuance in the way you state things
Well,
as
just
well.
say-
Because when you ask people what's your favorite Switch game, to them they're thinking, oh well, what
Yeah,
games do I own on the Switch?
Yeah.
That's why they
Right.
say
Doom
Breath
could
of
be
the
your
Wild.
favorite
and
Switch
then
game.
just say my top favorite games of this generation or something like that. Don't say PS5 because people expect games that are only on PS5.
No, if they said
that's where I'm mentally gonna go. Games
That's
that
what
are
I
only
would
on
think, too.
PS5.
See,
Yeah.
I don't, unless they said their favorite exclusives. I'm not looking at because it could be a multi.
Like,
it could be on Xbox.
Oh yeah, well, never mind.
Because if you said Elden Ring was your favorite game, I would more than likely like that's a PS4 game.
And nobody's gonna run to your video that says top 10 and expect to see Madden on your fucking list. Nobody's gonna go there and like, oh yeah, the top 10 PS4 games. Oh, Madden 2016. Like, come on, nobody's gonna do that. They're expecting PlayStation exclusive titles. That's what they're expecting.
But that's
But
kind
how
of
do you-
weird.
Maybe it's
though.
wrong. I don't know if that's wrong to expect.
Then you
that,
couldn't
but
do
that's what people
top
are
Xbox
thinking.
games either, though.
That's
I mean,
weird,
it's the
though.
Of course, I agree. You're totally right. There aren't any. There
if you
currently
said-
aren't any.
If you said that Forbidden West was your favorite PS5 game, then I'd be like, okay.
That's the same as Elden Ring, no?
Yeah, because I'm
it is, but I
PS4,
think the difference is because it's
At least
Sony.
it's
Well,
Sony
okay.
Settles.
Okay, I get what
Because
you're
it
saying.
launched-
Third party.
It launched after.
I get what you're saying.
PS5.
Elden Ring was a
Yeah.
bad
We
example
have-
because it was
we
a
have
multi-plat.
the nuance again because we
multi-plat.
know these were
Yeah.
essentially developed for these previous consoles.
Yeah.
We have that nuance. The thing about you also got the nuance with Breath of the Wild. Was it a Wii U game? Yeah, it started off as a Wii U game development, but then we know that it was greatly changed and
Yeah, it was
fundamentally
literally the
driven
Dreamcast game.
towards what the
Towards
Switch
the
was going to
Switch
offer.
was, yeah.
We knew they took away all the gamepad
For
stuff.
better or worse.
For better or worse, we knew they took away all that, and we knew what their focus was. And they said we're still going to release it on Wii U. Our focus is the fucking Switch show, and that's what they changed that game to.
Yeah, no,
So
but
you
I
have
see
those
that
nuances.
differently though. They didn't all of a sudden take a Wii U game and like let's make it into a Switch game. No, they took a Wii U game, removed the Wii U stuff, and then put it on that because it was faster
and
to
made
do.
it a
Power.
Switch game.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, they didn't build it with like the Switch's power afterwards in mind or anything.
No, of course not.
They
Yeah,
didn't
so-
change anything to the game.
I see where I was
The
wrong.
more
If you're gonna say your top PlayStation games, then I wouldn't expect multi-plats. But if it's Forbidden West, it's a cross-gen PlayStation game.
Yeah, but that's the difference, though, isn't it? Like going back to my
live with that. I
Dreamcast
can live
thing.
with
If
Forbidden
you
West.
said top PlayStation 1, you said top Sega Saturn, Dreamcast, GameCube, PS2, original Xbox. You went all the way fucking up. You are going to be naming exclusive after exclusive after exclusive, even in those first 2 years.
Well, they were exclusive then, but a lot of them aren't now. But
no,
Then
even
again-
that's what I
I
said.
mean, well,
in
we
those
can't say
first
Yeah,
two
that's what I'm
years.
saying. And I do
But
want to
again,
point out.
there is some nuance. I just want to quickly
Yeah.
say there is some nuance. Let's say you said my top 10 Dreamcast games, and Spider-Man is on our list. Well, you know what? Spider-Man is significantly better than the N64 version.
Yeah, like
And visually, it's
San Francisco Rush 2049. That was one of my
Right.
favorite Dreamcast games.
So I can understand that even in that.
Soul Reaver, Rayman 2, Shadow Man.
So,
We've been
Soul
in these
Reaver, right.
territories before.
Yeah.
We've been in these territories before.
Usually
I'm
the-
going to focus towards is
But I forget that Soul Reaver was even on PS2. I think most people do.
It's like
That was
Clocked It.
also
What was I
PS1,
telling you
sorry.
about?
PS1, not
Tony
PS2,
Hawk.
PS1.
Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. I would not have played that on PS1. Like that's a Dreamcast game to me.
Yeah.
That was a
But
Dreamcast.
most people played it on PS1 though.
I know, but
most
to me it was so inferior. But
Yeah, I got you.
Well,
we were
that
talking.
being said, that's the reason why you're not getting Xenoblade Chronicles X on the Switch.
Yeah, I don't.
no, because
I think
well,
there's
because
too
of the
much
Game
they'd have
Pass
to
stuff.
change.
Yeah, too much have to change.
I seen someone run it on PC, and what they had to do is like switch to the map, which took over the screen, do something, and it switched back.
No.
I think you could make it 2 screens, but then for the video they had to make it the same. But
no, you could
had-
do it. You could do it, but at the end of the day, we go back to what we're doing with Xenoblade 3. Holding
how
R2,
did
holding
how did you
R2,
play
pressing X, and going to the map.
How'd you
I was
play it on
gonna
Wii
say, I
U?
think you can easily remove the gamepad
Did I
stuff
play it?
from
Oh.
X.
Yeah, how did you play it on Wii U?
You got the map and everything, all your multitasking right here. All on the Pro controller, baby. That's how you
Because
do
you
it.
got the Pro controller,
and then the
that was-
gamepad's sitting there.
and the
And the
gamepad
gamepad
separately with the
too.
map. That's how you played it.
That's
Yeah,
how I
see,
played
I
it.
did.
That's how-
I didn't play it like that.
I played it off TV a little bit, but that was cumbersome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
But that's gonna be your Switch experience, that off TV experience.
Yeah,
on
sure.
Wii U.
Yeah, that's what. That's
I
what
do
it
have
would be.
to call
And then,
out
like-
something about the timetable between The Last of Us, the remaster and the remake. There's a little game in the mid '90s
Uh-oh.
called Resident Evil, and then like 6 years later we got the remake on GameCube. I know it was an exclusive to GameCube at the time, but that
But-
technically is the shortest turnaround from a
But,
GameCube
bruh,
remake.
Have you
wanna
seen the
compare
difference?
those versions?
Have you seen?
You
I
wanna-
can
Yeah.
say, fuck
I'm just
Oh,
saying,
that-
technically
it ain't
speaking,
Last of Us.
technically
that's
speaking,
a remake right there.
That's
That
a
was-
remake.
and yeah, that was enough of a remake where they added some new. For me personally, moving forward, I'm almost. It's tough because it's a game by game basis. Because I like the new character models in Xenoblade. I'm glad they didn't just try to up-res, those character models. And then otherwise, it's quality of life stuff aside, it's the same. You're playing the same game. Resident Evil 2 is the ideal situation. Take a classic game and you mix it up. They change the camera perspective. They change the gameplay up enough. It feels like a new game in a familiar story, but not every game could pull that off. Not every game needs to be that.
Yeah.
Like Link's
Mistakes.
Link's Awakening, did that need to have completely new story, new mission, new dungeons? They might have make it work, but at that point, it's a new game, So
Yeah.
there's a fine line between this stuff, between remakes, remasters, ports, combination of both. At the end of the day, I see a lot of people asking for every game to come to Switch. And I can see on one hand, I can see why you love the system, you like taking on the go, you want every game on there, and on the other hand, we're finally the last couple years, we're finally to the point with the Switch where it's like mostly new games, with a few. What was the last year where we had all the ports? 2020. We had like
No,
You want
four.
everything, you want everything
Well,
on the go on one
2020?
console.
I don't
Don't
think.
be hating on the Steam Deck.
Trying to Steam Deck the Switch.
That's
Don't be hating on the Steam
That's a
Deck. You want
question,
everything
T.
on one.
if
What up?
if you buy Xenoblade Chronicles 3, you put it in your cracked Switch, you get the game file, put it on your Steam Deck on Yuzu, and you could play that at 60 with really crisp visuals. I mean, is that something on Steam Deck? Would you be interested in that? Like, is that something you would? Would it be worth it?
Yeah, I do. I mean, why wouldn't you? I mean, if you have the I don't know if you'd buy a Steam Deck to do that.
No, but if
but
you
if you
had
already
the Steam
have
Deck,
one,
I'm thinking
why
of
wouldn't
cracking
you?
my Switch.
If you have the option and you're content with it, you're always going to try and have the better thing. You know, I've never tried to, you know, we'll joke about it, you know, certainly and stuff, but I've never, you know, fundamentally from my core, laughed at or tried to, you know, fully ridicule a lesser version of a game on a what we would call an inferior hardware. I always go back to, we said it a million times, you know, people had to play Shadow Man on the PlayStation 1 while you had the N64 version and the Dreamcast version. But those people only had the PS1 and they wanted all their games on their favorite console. Let them play their janker version. It's fine. It's fundamentally still the same game in the ways that it needs to be fundamentally still the same game. You can play the jank version, but if people got the option to get the better version, we're always going to go for it. It's like if I had a PS5 and my PS4 still underneath the TV, why the fuck would I put Elden Ring in my PS4? I just wouldn't. You get the PS5 version if I got it for a certain price or whatever. You know, there's other factors, of course, but you're always going to try and go for the better stuff.
Well, you get the
when
PS5
you have the
version
option.
with the PS4
That's-
disc. So
That's
You know,
that's
when you have the
debatable
options.
because you know we all have the option to play PS2, PS3 game. Well, most of us have the option to play PS2 or PS3 games, you know, via emulator on our PC. But like, I would much rather play a PS2 game, depending on what it is, on my PlayStation 2. I would rather just pop in the
Well,
disc.
no, wait. Okay, wait. You're talking about the retro, the setup there.
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the day, you're talking about the base hardware that this game was fundamentally designed for,
Yeah.
right? And that's what that's what I got. That's what I do. If I have my CRT, I plug it into it instead of my, you know, shitty LCD fucking LED fucking screen, because it just looks better on a CRT. This is what these games were designed for.
Right.
You know, I've bought HD updates of games before, like Ico and Shadow of the Colossus on the PS3. I put them in. I barely touched them. I was like, these look
That's
too
exactly what I
clean.
was about to say.
These look too clean. Me and T got about the N64. You know, I hate how N64 games look on Switch Online. I'm like,
Don't like
nah,
it.
man, I need a bit of that fuzz, man. You know,
I need that fuzz. I need that.
we're going back to that. We're going back to that nuance stuff.
too clean.
Yeah, you know, I'm talking about
clean.
people. I'm talking about people who don't have the options, right? People who
Yeah,
don't have the
that's true.
options.
That's true.
Yeah,
Yeah,
going back
I'll
to that-
still
to
play.
that
I'll
PS.
still play. I'll still play. I'll put the whole, you know, N64 on a 70-inch, you know,
Oh,
TV.
God. Why would you
Jesus.
do that?
so there
The
is
bigger the better, man. Put it on a movie theater screen.
so like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, there's no reason, if you have both, there's really no reason to play the Wii U version. Like,
None.
unless you need the map on your controller, on your screen, on the controller.
Or you have to play
Or-
with someone who doesn't
But-
have it
Matt-
anymore.
Or you
Even
want
less
or
of
you
a
want to press
reason.
the horn.
But
There's no
3D
horn.
World, 3D World to me,
No, but remember we played the Wii version again because you don't have deluxe
Yeah.
anymore. So
but to me, 3D World is I feel like it's better on the Wii U because I don't care for the speed up for every character. I don't think that
Yeah.
was necessary, and I don't. They lost the quick touch stuff for some of the levels. Like, to me, that's the Wii U version is completely fine. Now
But,
I'm
I
not
mean,
gonna.
But what fools would buy that re-release, man? Come on, who's gonna buy that jankless, man? We've already played
Hey,
it once.
I
Hey,
paid
man,
what
they-
Robert
they-
said.
Problem.
that comes with Bowser's Fury.
I paid what
problem.
Robert said
Exactly.
Bowser Fury is worth
That's the
alone.
problem.
Robert,
Bowser's Fury for me is
I
worth
paid
it alone,
$40.
100%,
Robert said
100%.
that's Bowser Fury is worth $40. I paid $40, so
100%.
I got the 3D
I think
World
first-
extra for free.
I just
I
played
think
that.
So
But how much have you played the 3D World? On
an
Switch?
hour.
An hour, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
your
well, that's
fav-
why,
your
like, I
favorite
played,
Mario
dude, I
C?
played, I
And-
played like 3 levels of 3D World, and I was like, I'm here for
It's
Bowser's
because I've
Fury,
been
man.
I've been playing like other things nonstop since I got that. Like,
Well, that's the point I wanted to make about quickly about emulated people who emulate. I guarantee you, because you know we all like the better visuals, the convenience, and all that. I guarantee you, if you did a survey of people who play games
they
emulated,
probably play an hour.
how many of them actually beat those games? How much they actually play
Yeah.
them? I guarantee you, it is very low. I guarantee
Yeah.
you. Now, of course, you'll have some people that are like Robert, who are younger, who just don't have access to those older systems, who never played the games before. They'll beat them. But I guarantee you, anybody who's actually beat these games on previous systems and whatnot, yeah, they'll play them for a little while in an emulator, and then right back to the old system. because that's I know that's what I do.
So that's a good point. I'm checking my Breath of the Wild CEMU. I had 24 to 25 hours, and I put a new solid state in. I wiped my windows, and then I have 18 hours 27 minutes. So I have about roughly 44 hours in Breath of the Wild. Bayonetta 2, I have an hour and 48 minutes. I had 63 hours. So it's the age, or the what I always say about when I hook up my old systems. I feel the same way about, you get an emulator, you're going to download all these games. Xenoblade Chronicles X I did, Tropical Freeze. I do all this, and then I play an hour, because for me, I don't go back and just replay an old game from start to finish very often. Sure. Like, doesn't happen. I feel like that's the same thing with emulation. I was going to say that, you don't. It doesn't matter how much better it looks if nope. You've already played. Like, I have 300 hours in Breath of the Wild on Switch. Like, do I need to go through it again? Like, it's just crazy. So
it was just fun to check out the upper visuals, how that looks, and you do that for a little while. You do that for a few hours, and you move on.
Exactly.
That's why I say, man, some people play games, other people play graphics.
But if it was a day and date situation, like Immortals, that's a good one. That was on Switch and PS5 at the same time. I didn't have the PS5 version, or I didn't have the PS5 for months later. That's, to me, like, if you just, I'm not going to play it on the Switch. Sonic Frontiers, if I was interested in the game, I'm not going to get the Switch version. There's just some situations where the sacrifices are too much.
But I think also that has to do with, it's two things. One is because you have the other, you have the other platform, so you have the benefit of it. But when I was, when I was younger, I just, like, kind of like what Clark was saying, you just kind of play what you got, like, it isn't like, you don't really think about it, to be fair though, even when I was younger, I had, Black Ops 1 on 360 and Black Ops 1 on the Wii. And I prestige at the same time, I prestiged on Black Ops 1 on the Wii and prestige on Black Ops 1 on 360.
But
I fucking love that game, and I didn't even think about, like, I thought, like, generally,
very
like,
different
looks
games.
really good.
Because of how they control.
Oh, control wise, yeah. Okay,
well, you're probably playing dual analogs though. No one.
But yeah, to be fair though, I used the classic controller.
How did you?
How
the hell did you get a kill with that?
You had the Wii version. You still use the classic controller. What the?
Hey man, look, because I felt like, I thought that was like,
he didn't even have the good one with the grips, though. You had the little shitty one.
No, I used
Super Nintendo controller.
Yes.
I don't know how you ever got a kill.
It was crazy because I remember I it was like the only Wii game that had like a little headset, and it had like a little Black Ops headset, and it just sticks out like that, and it just I think it was cool because I played with my friend on there. I guess he also had a 360. I don't know why we played so much of back and forth. We played the 360 and the Wii.
That is weird.
But yeah, it's similar controls, but I don't know. I enjoyed it. You played it on the Wii, and you still had that different feel to it, I guess, but. Even like the graphics, I think, are still pretty damn good for the Wii, and I still enjoy it. It's really impressive, honestly. And
I changed my tune over the years. I think the Wii was closer to the 360 than we gave it credit for, as far as like, it didn't do 60 frames per second Call of Duty, but it was similar to the Switch and the PS4, where it was way scaled. Well, not as, I don't know, visually, just. I don't know if it was just resolution. I don't know if character models probably were scaled back to polygons.
Well, they carried,
it was 30. It was a similar. I think it's a similar gap to
the Wii.
Switch.
The Wii had some great fucking looking games, man.
But
yeah, man.
I'll get to one more topic. I want to get one more topic. It's been a while because last week, for those I didn't mention this, my electric pole in the back of between my backyard and the person behind me caught on fire during a storm. And they had to drive into my backyard and cut the top of the power pole off because it was on fire. And I was without power for like 16 hours. That's why we didn't have a podcast last week. So something I wanted to talk about, which has been a while, is the Treehouse Splatoon thing. And I don't know if you guys watched it. I watched most of it. They also simultaneously released like a 5-minute overview of the basics, and they brought back that voice actor that I hated, or the voiceover girl. And it's just like, it just kind of confirmed what I already knew. And yeah, they didn't only show 3 levels. of the single player, and they didn't really highlight any story stuff. That's probably for the better. But it doesn't look like much has changed.
Have you played it? Have you played it so far?
I didn't play the Splatfest.
I played the Splatfest.
But as far as the single player, it didn't give me any hope that there's going to be much new in the way of like, you know, enemies. Looks like they're all the same. You're still shooting, you know, balloons. You're still spinning the things for the platforms. I didn't see any new ideas. I'm not saying there won't be, but what they showed me so far from trailers, from the direct where they showed 40 seconds, they showed 3 levels, and I just said, you know what, this is the final nail for me. I'm definitely not getting the game. It just doesn't, with everything with the multiplayer being so similar, they just didn't look like the single player. There was still a little thread I was hanging on to in the back of my mind that maybe they'll show something with the single player. They didn't. So for me, it's fine. You know, final nail in the coffin. No buy. I don't know if you guys watched the Treehouse. If you saw anything.
To be honest, like I didn't watch the Treehouse, but I played the Splatfest, and playing through that, it just. I'm not gonna say it necessarily felt like more of 2, but it just felt like an extension of 2. And for the fact that this game is just so hardcore played by, you know, other people, even like waiting a week out to even pick this up, it seems like you're going to be behind everybody else, and I don't like being that far behind. So yeah, I mean, I was going to wait to pick it up anyway because there's way too many games that are coming out that I feel like are more interesting to me. But yeah, just even playing this, it just, I don't know, man. It doesn't feel like it's a actual leap. It just feels like it's just
Continuation.
And was I correct in stating that desert stuff before the train, that's just the beginning of the single player?
Oh, that's absolutely the beginning.
Yeah.
You start the game off that way.
Because I remember we had a little discussion about maybe that tied into this story mode, but it looks like that's just the single
Not
player.
really.
I think
really.
what is it? Just it takes you go and it takes you to a little training ground, and then you go to like.
I just feel like that's
the
just
city, right?
Them adding to the production value of the
introduction.
game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it looked like that was part of the Splatfest. Anybody else play the Splatfest? Have any thoughts?
Yeah. You know, like I said, I played it. Kids played it as well. You know, I'm not gonna lie. You know, when I still get hyped for the Splatfest. So going into it, and you're seeing this new Hong Kong like area, and going around it and seeing all the floating barrages that, you know, above you with the new characters on there singing and dancing and stuff.
Yeah, the Splatfests are always cool.
Yeah, you know, I think that's why that's why I wanted to jump in just for the Splatfest and try and build up some hype for me, because I think I was in the same book as you guys, where I'm just like, yeah, I'm gonna get it because my kids love Splatoon, but I don't know how invested I will be in. But you know, I jumped into multiplayer and it just felt natural. It felt fun. People were demonstrating some new stuff. The new lobby system was great. There's one little thing though, when you go into the lobby system, initially you start off a game, you got 10 seconds if you want to cancel, and then once that 10 seconds is up, you basically just got to wait until the roster's filled in, and there's no way to escape out of there. I found myself pressing the home button, closing the game down, and going back in like when the counter was at like 200 seconds or some shit. I was like, come on.
When it's obviously stuck, like the lobby's looped, and it just keeps not finding players, and it goes, the timer keeps getting bigger. Yeah,
I remember
the fact they don't have like a bailout of that yet, still just like, I'm not surprised.
I mean, at the end of the day, is, you know, we all knew it. It's more Splatoon. Some of the new stuff was fun. The new Shack bike thing really was as fun as it looks. But you know,
we're hoping it'd be more, because the DLC from Splatoon 2, we thought maybe they would add some more with the story stuff.
Yeah, I got a feeling where we get the full game, that intro that we did on the Splatfest, just running straight to through that training area and jumping straight on a train. I feel like there will be a lot more to that, because that feels very just random and thrown in.
It was super random.
Beginning, you mean?
Yeah, it was
that's gonna be like the game Splatoon 2. You're never gonna fucking see that again. You're there just to learn how to shoot a balloon. You're gonna go to the city. You're never gonna see that part.
That's how I feel.
It's not what I mean about seeing that part again. What I mean is the way it starts, because you literally
I think that's exactly how it's gonna start.
You choose your character and then you just run through it. Just
I think it's going to be opposite.
I think that's
the
how it's
exact same
gonna start,
fucking
though,
thing
yeah.
Yeah, I
again.
think that's exactly how the main.
I know
game
you're full of
comes
hate, Retro. I know you're full of hate.
So
It's just-
Look, man, like I'm sorry, but like what we just talked about Sonic is the same for me for Splatoon. It's the third fucking game, and not only do you get like literally the same fucking levels as before, you're gonna get all the same fucking weapons as before. They changed a couple of specials, like they did from Splatoon 1 to 2, and it's like there's no evolution in the actual gameplay itself. You still have like the mirrored flat level with a couple of hills. Like I'm sorry, you could have done something. Like have a fucking shed you can stay inside. I don't know. Make a roof. Make like
I don't.
make a level that's like fucking vertical. Do fucking something. I'm looking
know.
at this. I'm looking at the gameplay and I'm fucking bored. And I used to love Splatoon, man, but I fucking can't do this a third time.
Yeah, same.
All right, so I'm gonna ask a question. Just give
I could have gone more.
answer the question. How you feel, honestly, like what you think. So, you guys gave me shit about the direct. You know, I focused on something, but in the treehouse, in the first like 5 minutes, 3 or 4 times. I didn't count the exact number. I was at work listening. They said 3 or 4 times. The single player, this is a good way to practice for the multiplayer. They said it 3 or 4 times within 5 minutes. Why do you guys, I have a new theory, but why do you guys think they keep referring to the single player as good practice for the multiplayer? Do you have a thought on that before I reveal what I think it might be now? Like I have a new...
You think they try to get, like, because there's so many good players now that you think maybe that they're trying to get people maybe up to speed or something? Like you're trying to get, is that what you're trying to insinuate? Like you don't want people to fall out, you don't want people to fall off so quickly?
Don't guess what you think he.
Oh, okay. I'm
Yeah,
trying to.
what do you think? Why do you think they keep saying it so like over and over? Like
I can kind of see that. Like they feel like people are gonna be so like demolished by a bunch of players that they're like worried that people are gonna fall off so quick of the game.
I think they're just focusing on trying to get a larger audience. They know Splatoon aficionados are going to buy the game anyway, so they're not going to focus on like the pros. They're going to try and do what they do. The Switch has a really good, since Splatoon 2 launched to now, there's such a huge install base, and that's what they're trying to cater to, I feel.
I can't think of any Nintendo game featurette like this where they don't focus on the basics for people. They do it.
It's fine to focus on the basics, but to reiterate multiple times that this is good practice for the multiplayer. Like at my first thought, even when I saw they
want somebody to actually play
the Octo expansion. That's
I
it.
think that's what it is.
I think the numbers are showing that people aren't playing the single player. That's my new theory on this.
Yeah,
because I'm like, when I saw the Octo expansion trailer and I saw what it was, I wish I could find the video, but it's just like it's buried in one of our
that Octo.
I said that this looks like to me like they're just finding a use for the specials in the game, and they're just taking stuff from the multiplayer. Hey, we got this special, let's make a level around that special, you know, like,
which is cool. That's I know you always say like
I know,
that,
but to me,
like, as like
instead of making a single player game, they're we got this rollerball, we got this what's the jet one? Or the hover one, where you go up on the hover and you can shoot.
Yeah, I know.
It's like we have this
like
from Splatoon 1. I think it carried over to Splatoon 2 multiplayer. I know they changed a lot of the specials. Well, let's use this. We have this. Let's use it. Let's just make a level. Well, not just, but let's make a level around this. That's fine. But to me, when I saw the trailer, I was like, oh, they're just taking stuff from the multiplayer and throwing it into individual levels. You know, to me, I want way more of that. I mean, I want way more than that. I want an adventure game. I'm sorry, that's just what I want.
So screaming for an adventure game. There's so much character in these games, and they're just screaming to have an adventure mode, and it's just like they won't do it.
Would you be surprised if Nintendo made a spin-off just solely for
At this point, I'd be surprised because they haven't done it yet. I would.
That's what I remember when it first was revealed. I remember like, oh, I think this is gonna be it, like a spin-off type, you know, adventure type thing.
So remember way back when they showed like that 2D mode. What happened to that?
So I was just like dead set on the Nintendo or the team making Splatoon views the single player as just a way for people to practice for the multiplayer. That's kind of what I said, and then they reiterate it in the direct, and they've said it now in this treehouse. But now I just think maybe they're just looking at the numbers, and not a lot of the 10 million whatever that bought Splatoon 2 actually played the single player. That's kind of what
I've
I'm
admitted this before. I've admitted this before, and I'll say it again. I didn't even touch the single player campaign of Splatoon 1 until Splatoon 2 was announced and about to come out. I was like, man, let me just finish this single player mode of Splatoon 1 for us, you know. When you guys were like, like find the boss is so incredible. I'm like, I just didn't care. And that's when I quickly went through it. And it's the same thing with Splatoon 2, you know. I played it for a while, you know, until I just grew bored of it after a while. And again, I think I'm in level 3 in that. I just never touched it.
Wow, really?
Well, they also didn't finish Galaxy 2. So.
Yeah.
That's their polite way of saying you better hurry up and play these single player.
But I get bored because that's why I get
Yeah.
I get bored of that just so fast.
Yeah.
See, I really
this
like
is where I completely disagree about the single player, you know, being for the multiplayer. Just the things that you even try to think about when you're playing a single player in Splatoon games. Things you just mentioned in the bosses when you're fighting, you know, Octavio and stuff like that. That whole level itself, it's got absolutely nothing to do with multiplayer whatsoever in terms of gearing you up for this. Sure, at the end of the day, no matter what single player game that got multiplayer it is, you're learning the controls. Of course, it's going to carry over into multiplayer.
Yeah, that's what I
will make you better though. Like those boss battles will make you.
I'd say the boss battles are the exception.
I don't know how it make you better the person.
Not against human.
You have
I'm
to get better.
I'm actually annoyed with how much stuff is in the single player that is not in the multiplayer.
Or even when I did start the Octo expansion and stuff, or even just the other Splatoon player single player stuff, you got levels, you know, which there's almost like giant bullet bills coming towards you. They got big red noses, you know, and stuff like that. You're going along these gangplanks trying to make your way across. Once again, nothing to do with multiplayer.
But that's what's so frustrating is that they have all that stuff and they refuse to like make it a cohesive adventure.
I think, but I think that's always been our problem, right? A lot of people just can't gel with the level.
Yeah, there's plenty of good levels
of these single player games.
There are, you know,
like if we just flow through a cohesive narrative, you know, through these things,
you
then I think
remember,
people feel better.
You remember your argument earlier about how much Mario 1, 2, and 3 changed. Like, oh, all of a sudden you can pick up a shell, you can do this. Splatoon 1, 2, and 3, every time you go into a level, it's got them the exact same fucking thing.
Where did you see me right now with the huge flag just going, Splatoon 3 is so different. It's so fucking different.
Well, here's the thing, though.
Where did that happen? I said I played the Splatfest. I said I played the Splatfest. I got into Splatoon mode. It's more Splatoon. I didn't say it was totally brand new.
Well, you didn't finish the Octo expansion, so I'm curious why.
I didn't finish the Octo expansion. I just haven't got around to it. The thing is, I've paid for that as well. So I'm not gonna, you know, I gotta play it.
I will say the boss fights are the thing that make the single player really different.
They're great.
You know, like
most of them are great.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Robert. How many boss fights were in the Octo expansion? I feel like there was a couple, like 3, and then the final.
I want to say 4 to 5, but I could be wrong.
You redid the same one, but with a way tougher version.
Yeah, there was one that was like take a read, but it was a lot more.
But I like the boss fights. That's what gave me hope because I feel the final boss in Splatoon 1 is one of the best, most fun boss fights I've ever been a part of. And yeah, you're
edge of your seat, nail biting.
It almost felt like a Bowser level, like a final 3D Mario Bowser level. 100%. You know?
Retro disagrees.
I feel like they couldn't ever top that. Second game was okay. I thought the single player was decent. You know, it was
and that music as well.
Yeah, and that was a fresh experience. That was a really fresh experience. I think a lot of us assumed that they would build upon that, make a longer game, make a 6, 7, 8 hour version of that. No, they just kept it the 4 or 5 hours, whatever it is. 6, whatever it is.
Again, I know you say 4 or 5, but like it is like again, I know on average time it is 7 hours. Though.
Okay,
like
but it's whatever the very similar between the first two, and the third one I have a feeling is going to be very similar again.
They made it longer the second one, and then Octo Expansion was even a little bit longer, and you know I again for me like I really enjoyed we always debate back and forth. I really enjoyed the Octo Expansion a lot personally, And it doesn't even just have to do with the levels. I really enjoyed the character. I like the little text message. I like the setting. I like the fucking mafia fucking crab dude that's sitting in the corner, and you talk to him, and then and then you got the robot who's talking about racism in Splatoon. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? This is awesome, and I love that shit. So I eat all that up. But like for you, I know you mainly want. You would like that. I guess you would like that stuff, but more in a different structure.
I thought Octo Expansion was a step back from 1 and 2. I didn't like I mean, it's gonna sound like retro death here. I didn't like the.
You didn't like the map thing?
You
like
just
the whole like the subway rides?
You go to a menu, you pick a level, and then it drops you in. You go through the gates, and then the level starts. You have 3 lives.
Yeah.
And
you don't like
every
that.
level was that.
Oh, I don't like that.
See, what I liked in the best part of 2 for me was just finding the level, getting up to the level.
Yeah, you kind of like the overworld and stuff. That was
because here's
I
why
like
it's
both.
different though.
I like both, but what I like about the whole subway thing is every different transportation there was the actual train was filled with different type of creatures and different designs.
I didn't know.
You don't give a shit about that. I like that.
They were different.
I like seeing different designs, and I was like. Oh my god! Look at this,
dude!
Packed with shrimps, and they're all wearing suits and shit. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? This is
I
awesome.
saw the same. I talked to the same people everywhere I went to like upgrade to like do your.
No, I know, but like the actual when you change actual people, the passengers are different. You don't talk to them.
I didn't notice that.
And then also like the actual and also I think you agree with this though, is that the final section when there's remember the last 7 that does expand. You gotta admit where remember where it's like there's like a bigger structure.
Yeah, that was the best part of the game.
I would agree. Like that's actually if they expanded upon
that would have been the whole structure. That would have been cool. But
I agree. Yeah.
To clarify the difference between Splatoon 1 and 2, where you have this kind of open area and you can get to the levels. That is the adventure game stuff I want Splatoon to be.
Gotcha.
In Galaxy, you're doing the same thing, getting up to the levels. You can do your double jumps. You can do the flying if you unlock the whatever mushroom that was.
Red cap.
You're doing in the levels. You're kind of doing the same thing. I mean, Mario's abilities don't change. You're not all of a sudden in an adventure game. Now you're in a level based game. I just feel like Splatoon, if it would just continue. And I don't even know if I want to go into a place, be teleported somewhere, and do some linear level. I don't know.
Would you like I think did we say this a Bowser's Fury type Splatoon?
I think for Splatoon that would work.
You have a big map, you know what I'm saying, and then little sections were kind of.
They would have to. They would have to completely change their mindset about what the objectives are, what you're actually doing. If it's just the challenge is the platforming, not just getting from A to B, getting through your check marks every time, and then at the end you shoot the thing and then you jump on it and you get a little celebration. It's just rinse and repeat, and I just can't do that.
The stupid thing is that those overworld maps and Splatoon and stuff that take you to all the levels, just evolve those. Those are kind of big areas we can walk around.
They are pretty big areas.
And stuff. Make that into bigger things.
Have an Octo expansion,
which is like the Bowser's Fury. If you, I know you think it's a DLC for fucking 3D World, but if you expand in terms of how that is, imagine having a big city, essentially you have different cities almost to explore. And different objectives within the city. I don't know.
Imagine if an Octoling just popped up in your the hub world. And you have to fight a Octoling or an enemy without having to go through a level and just do that same routine. That would be cool. Have a challenge, just like in Immortals. You have that open world. You walk through a gate. Now you have a countdown starts, and you have to get to the shining light in 20 seconds or whatever. Just in an open world. Now you have a challenge. Just immediately, you don't have to do it, but if you want to. You can go do that, you find it in the world. You don't get teleported until you go into the vaults, which are unique levels of some really cool, just like the shrines, kind of. So, either way, I'm sure someday maybe they'll do it, but we gotta wrap this up. So, it's getting kind of late. But
It'd be too close to Mario 3D World.
Yeah.
yeah,
way too close.
Sunshine.
it's
Way
too close
too
to
close.
Sunshine if they just make a competent 3D or a competent single player mode. It's too
But
close.
anyway, we're gonna get out of here. I want to thank Sandstorm for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me.
I know we talk a lot. We've been doing this a long time.
He's exhausted with our bullshit.
Yeah.
His shoulders like.
I didn't know who was gonna be last week. It was just gonna be me, you. It was gonna be T, myself, and Sandstorm. That was who it was gonna be. That's why that was initially why I was gonna have you on. Thought it'd be a good opportunity, and then I was like, well, my power went out, so we got to delay it. And then I almost thought we were gonna have too many people. I thought if Terrell was gonna be here, I was gonna have to push you to next week. So, but you know. I've appreciate having you on, and we'll have you on in the future, and it's good having you. And thanks everybody for tuning in at this early time. I know a bunch of people joined like an hour and a half into it when we kind of got closer to our normal start time. But yeah, so that's gonna be it next week. I'm sure we'll have more stuff to talk about. So thanks everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Peace.